Hey everyone, welcome to the Spring 2015 North American Challenger Series playoffs. I'm David Frigturley, and alongside me is the most respected man in League of Legends, Aiden Zyrene Moon.
Thank you.
April Fools, what a freaking chump. After a hard-fought regular season, 4 Challenger teams have made it into the playoffs, and yesterday, the semifinals kicked off. Second place TDK defeated Team Fusion 2-1. TDK are now headed into the Challenger Finals next week on April 8th, and they will face the winner of tonight's match between NME Esports and Final 5.
Whoever loses tonight's best of 3 will take on Team Fusion in the third place match on April 7th. At the end of these playoffs, first place will replace Team Coast in the Summer North American LCS. Second and third place will battle Team Dignitas and Winter Fox in the Summer Promotion Tournament for a chance to win their spots.
And this season is quickly coming to an end, but it's not too late to join the LCS studio audience this spring. You can experience a game from our Battle Arena live and see the newest NALCS team in action.
Ooh, Battle Arena, I like that. The Spring Challenger Finals will take place on Wednesday, April 8th, live on the LCS stage here in Los Angeles. Just go to lolesports.com/tickets to grab your seats before they're all gone. You can see how many people are there.
It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I'll be there, so will he, unfortunately. Today's best of 3 matchup is just about ready to begin with Final 5 going up against NME Esports.
Smack me in the face, got to smack me in the pride, too.
Easy. Yeah.
Easy.
Face is all you got going for you. That's all. That's your entire pride.
At least I had that going for me.
This guy's good. He's a joker. So let's talk about side choices, of course. NME Esports, they're the higher seeded team. As the #1 seed, of course. And so they get to pick their side for Game 1 and Game 3. They chose red side for Game 1. They chose blue side for Game 3. Final 5 just chose blue side for Game 2. So the first 2 games are going to be the same, and then in Game 3 they'll swap.
Yeah, and I assume that's because they come in with a strategy where if they go to that third game, they're going to want that first pick power pick for themselves on enemy's side.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these guys actually pick for themselves, but let's go to checking out the starting lineups. In the top lane for Final 5, we'll start with the blue team here, is Rux. And Rux is a player I have had such high hopes for the last year and a half, and every time it feels like he just can't quite put enough out here. You can see his CSD is actually a bit negative, his kill participation a little bit low on Final 5 here overall. He plays a wide variety of champions, carries and tanks and whatnot, but he just never quite lives up to his own expectations either. He actually expects a lot more of himself as well, and I want to see if now with the pressure on, he steps it up a notch.
And I want to talk about the next man on this Final 5 roster. It's the jungler Impaler. Since Impaler joined the team, they're 0-4 with him, but his scoreline is really good, and he sets his team up with a lot of pressure early on, and that's how they're going to beat NME today, is Impaler outplaying Trashy in the jungle and hopefully giving his team an early lead. I also then want to move over to their mid laner, Gate. Now this guy is very consistent. He stays in the mid lane though. He's not going to solo kill people in lane. He's not that type of star. He likes the types of champions that are going to roam about later on in the game. The Zed, the Kassadin. He likes having an impact later. So he is usually not the recipient of the ganks from his jungler, which frees up the side lanes, typically their bot lane, to get that help from Impaler to manifest their lead there. And if they get behind, he's still going to be relevant because he didn't get behind in lane himself.
Absolutely. I actually really want to see Gate on a signature Twisted Fate. I think the screen name kind of explains that pretty well,
also
actually.
Likes Jace, too. 2 different types of Gate.
That's true. But I think it's going to be good for them to have this style because their bot lane is something that I think has a lot of attention on it. I want to talk about their AD carry here, Veritas. Veritas has had an actually abysmal laning phase. You can see his CSD is incredibly negative. His KP, though, incredibly high. 77% of his team's kills, he's a part of that. His scoreline, 49-27. The fact that they're getting all these losses, but he's dying so little relative to everyone else. Veritas is very good. He just has to get out of lane. You can see that Kog'Maw game in there. Got crushed in lane. They built to protect the Cog comp, and it didn't work out because of the laning phase. If Veritas gets out of lane, his team's going to do well.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. He was #1 in Challenger for a very long time. Sits around between #1 and 3 at the moment. And he's actually gone through 3 different supports this season. And I want to talk about his current one right now. It's going to be Sheep filling up that support lane for him. Sheep was a guy who's also 0-4. He came on at the same time that Impaler did, but he's a very aggressive laner. He's known for his Leona, his Thresh, his Annie. He needs to unlock Veritas with the help of Impaler, the 2 guys coming over from Coast, to get that star AD carry into that star power part of the game where he can get that kill participation even higher by having good team fights for it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think an overall story of Final 5 is they're just team synergy. They've only played 4 Challenger Series matches with the new lineup with Impaler and Sheep coming over. We'll see if they can keep improving as time goes on. But Final 5, we'll see him in a bit. Going to start talking about the other side, though. NME Esports are starting red side for games 1 and 2. And NME Esports, they're the team favorited to win the entire Challenger Series. They went 9-1 during the regular season. Their top laner, FLICKR, high-risk player, but it works out for him. You're actually going to notice the entire team has really low kill participation because they solo kill people so often.
Yeah, he's another guy that solo kills people in lane, or he'll die in lane and get solo killed. But he'll end up 0-4 on FLICKR, and then he'll start coming back just by split pushing and killing the top laner. It happened against Rux last week. That was the matchup where that went down. So he's up against him again this week. We're going to see more of the same. I don't know.
We're going to have to find out, but let's move on to the jungler here on this roster. Trashy has been absolutely great for the team as well. He's playing mostly aggro champions, the Rek'Sai, the Lee Sin, the Vi, even after 5.5 hit the Challenger Series last week. He's still going for the fighter junglers. He's still trying to bully people out and get early leads for the team.
Yeah, when I talked to him and asked him about tank junglers, he wasn't completely sold on them just yet because of the fact that he can get his team an early snowballed lead with these aggressive junglers, and then they can close it out from there without having to go into the late game or stall out and wait for that period.
Yeah, and this guy's overall really great. And speaking of another amazing player, I would say actually the best performer in Challenger this split is NACS in the mid lane. He is a top laner turned mid laner. He averages 1 death a game, which is ridiculous. He's been so great on mostly assassins. His Ahri and LeBlanc are his most impressive. His Nidalee is what he's famous for. He just basically never gets the champion. Yeah,
it always gets banned from him, but when he does get to play it, he has a stellar performance on it. NACS, definitely, like you said, the biggest performer right now in Challenger. Amazing that he's got such a huge champion pool, and he's so good at all the champions he seems to pull out. The assassin,
he's good at the role.
I know, exactly. The assassins, the long-range mages, whatever he picks up, he's really, really good on, and he's a threat. Also with Trashy at his side, but he also showed that he could pick up a game when they had the sub of shorter race too.
That's true. NX has been great. Another player who's been absolutely amazing, and the scorelines show it, is their AD carry Otter. Just a lot like NX, where he just is routinely consistent. You can see even his laning phase is really strong, and I really like when they put him on champions like Tristana, these more early mid-game oriented champions, because they already win the laning phase. He can knock down turrets and get more of a lead for the team with this.
Yeah, highest CS differential at 10 out of all the AD carries in the Challenger Series right now. But I want to talk about the other half of the bottom lane. It's Body Drop rounding it out for Otter. This was a guy that was handpicked by Otter, and they both have exactly the same kill participation. Body Drop has played 7 Morgana games, 2 Janna, 1 Thresh. Every time that champion's open, he will go for it. So I expect that to be banned today because he's seen so much success on it.
Yeah, I really, actually, my favorite bottom lane in League of Legends is Kalista Morgana, and it's a champion that both these guys like to play a whole lot because she's so short range. After you ult her in for the knockup, she's still in ult range. Where, like Annie, like, oh, I have to like still walk forward to Tibbers, or like Sona, like you can miss the crescendo. Morgana's like super free, and by still being ranged, she can still trigger the W procs. I really want to see that bottom lane. I think it's incredibly strong and incredibly powerful. And so we've talked about the players. We can talk a little bit more about the team. Now, we talked about Final 5 a little bit in that we're saying early game aggression, keying mostly off of Impaler seems to be their big ticket in here, especially still being a bit of a new roster. We have to see how good their synergy really is as they continue to grow as a team.
Yeah, Impaler has a lot of faith in that, though, because when we talked to him last week, despite being 0-2'd by, or I guess 2-0'd by NME, yeah, he was still very kind of confident that they would come back in a best of 3. Yeah. I mean, if you get 0-2'd in a best of 3, you're out.
Right.
I don't know how much is actually placed on that in terms of like how much he thought that the games being spread out was kind of to their detriment. Yeah. But right now he's going to have to play back-to-back games, and if they can just pivot and champions like very quickly, if they give up a game, it's going to be rough though, because they are big underdogs in this for Final 5.
They are massive underdogs, but as we saw over in Europe, I mean, Reason Gaming nearly took out Origin, and they actually won the first game here, despite that being, I would say, almost a more one-sided match on paper than this one. So when it comes to game day, anything can happen. NME Esports, yes, they're the favorites, but it's how you perform when it matters here. You're going to see the first picks and bans coming through. FLICKR's just removing carry top laners. Rumble's gone, Hecarim's gone. The Morgana from Body Drop, as you called, makes a whole lot of sense here. Meanwhile, a different split of champions. You said Trashy not really liking the tank, so first ban Sejuani, no reason to contest it.
Yeah, just take it out of the champion pools of the guys. Yeah. And that's also a big thing, too, is NME Esports. Another thing of why they picked red side, I think, is because they get to ban the Sejuani red side and not waste a blue side ban on it.
That's true. I suppose there is some
because they're not going to first pick it if it's left open.
Yeah. Well, Nidalee, though, first picked away by Final 5. They realize NACS wants this champion a whole lot, and Final 5 not going to let him play it.
That's
Smart.
really good, though, for Impaler, because he wants an early game champion that's going to unlock the jungle for him, and it's really hard to duel a Nidalee early on. Trashy is, he might have to pick up a tank here to try and outscale her at level 6 and have that type of pressure, because it flips, because Nidalee doesn't have an ultimate that levels up with this level 6 that has a huge impact on her power.
Yeah.
But the fact that she shows up to a lane at level 6, the counter ganks are usually in the other person's favor.
Right, yeah. I mean, she does have some benefit from ranking the ultimate, but
Well,
it's
of
more
course,
like...
everybody does. I'm just saying the power spike difference is much lower.
I more meant it to explain it to kind of further. I agree with you completely. It's more like getting from 6 to 11, right? Like hitting 1 to 6 is like, yeah, my spells are better, but it's not like, I have an ulti, cool, my champion's different. She starts that way. So just adding more fuel to the fire here. Saber coming in for Otter. I like the team fight power. Flares on a carry top laner. We expect him to do well, but Final 5, getting them the Urgot here. Everyone's loving this champion now.
Yeah, so Gate's a guy who has a solid laning phase every single time we see him, but he's not going to solo kill you. Now,
It could be Veritas.
It could be Veritas, but the frequency of Urgot at AD carry has been kind of low. We've seen it in Korea, we've seen it a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's going to go into the mid lane, because right now, the way that Urgot stands in the meta is he counters a lot of champions, he counters a lot of AD mids.
Yeah.
But people haven't found the counter for him outright yet.
I know Cho'Gath seemed to be considered a decent one there, where we saw the matchup getting picked in and it went pretty okay. The thing is, the more I think about Urgot and Thresh against Sivir, though, is what do you get a spell shield? You can block the Urgot E, but then you leave yourself open to Thresh. Either way, see what the matchup ends up being. Gragas jungle coming in for a Trashy here, so you're right, we are going to see a tank jungler come in here. We typically see him go Cinderhulk. Tank items, not Magus Burst like we see Cali Trolls play. And Annie support comes in for NME Esports with... Morgana band away.
It's another champion that he's really good at engaging on.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him on it, though. Body Drop has not played a single game of Annie throughout the entire tournament, throughout the 10 games that we've seen him. So the fact that he's going to have that, it's kind of similar to Morgana in lane pressure. You land a stun. It's a point and click, little bit of a range difference there, but the fact that he'll have that for the lockdown alongside the Sivir means he's not going to play against a Sivir that can spell shield.
Yeah, and the cool thing here, I want to see NME Esports pick a team fighting mid laner. Now, it's 5.6. Victor is actually still disabled right now for a bug on the tournament realm, so we're not going to see the Victor for Inox, but this looks like a big team fight comp. Sivir Annie has hard engage, Flares can play cleanup, Trash can help the engage as well, split the team up, and then create an opportunity for Inox to be the follow-up damage dealer. I want to see what that champion is here as Final 5 lock their lineup. You're right, it is Urgot mid. It's going to be Jinx here for Veritas, and since he seems to team fight so well, they give him a sort of team fight carry type champion, and Rex gets to play a big tank in the top lane where he can be consistent and powerful and set up team fights for Jinx to carry.
Yeah, and one of the things about Jinx is if you put resources into her, you're always going to see the payoff of it.
Yes, you are.
Because if Jinx is even, she's still in a good spot, but then she picks up kills later on, and she can come back. But if you set her up for success from the beginning, she's just an absolute terror on the game.
Right, it's there's champions like Vayne and Kog'Maw and like Old Trist where like they're going to snowball later on in the game. Jinx actually can be a lane bully. Yeah. She's got so much power early on in the game that it gives you the ability to play just hardcore kill lanes. Now, Kog'Maw comes in for Inox here, and I want to assume it is AP Cog here, and you said, hey, what's the counter to Urgot going to be? How about adding even more range and not being caught out here? Inox on Kog'Maw here is going to be interesting. There is only one tank on the lineup. I'm like seeing the Nidalee and Sion switch back and forth. I expect that to be Impaler's Nidalee. You don't know it for sure, of course. But like AD Cog would not be what I would think this comp needs.
No, I don't think they need an AD Cog. It's pretty catchable and like position reverserable.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be a long-range poke champion. I mean, Inox, he loves Nidalee. He played a lot of Xerath in the Challenger Series. This might be another poke comp for him, another poke-type champion. So AP Kog'Maw's laning phase is all about wave clearing with the ooze, and then eventually getting your ultimate and having a tier, stacking that up, making sure that you can get through it. But against the Urgot, I don't know, Urgot has some good laning presence right now.
Absolutely, and the kill pressure of Swap and Nidalee is a guaranteed dead champion. There's so many easy ways to synergize. We'll see what happens, though, in the early laning phase and beyond that one. Now, guys, with the champions locked in, we want you to tell us who you think is going to win this match. Tweet hashtag F5win or hashtag NME win to @LevelEsports. We will tally your votes in a few minutes, and we'll see who you guys think is going to win throughout this game. NME Esports, once again, coming in huge favorites. Game day is always the important thing, though. Upsets happen all the freaking time. And it is going to be a fun match all the same because the first 20 minutes, I think, will be explosive. It will be a close match, and that's going to determine a lot of this game.
Yeah, and also, even though there are new guys onto the roster of Final 5, Impaler and Sheep, they've already had the chance to play against NME. It's not like they're coming in without too late and being like, oh, we don't have experience against this team. How did you guys play against them last time? They were there. So they know some of the map movements that NME are going to make. They have a good feeling of how the players lane when they go up against them. And they have a good idea of what their champion pools are now at this point. So the stage has been set for this confrontation, barring from last week.
Well, confrontation in the mid lane. Trading blows early. Ooh. Gate's winning this trade, though. 3 Qs in a row. NACS getting destroyed here. It's the ward. All right, great. You should recall, homie. No way to stay in this lane. All right, so standard level 1s in the mid laners show up and put aggressive trinkets down to try to watch rotations. Trashy getting invaded on will not. Oh, man, that was close. Final 5, don't take that one out. And Impaler started W.
Pro tip, if you are Nidalee, transforming is an auto attack reset. So you can auto R, and it's an instant 2 hits.
Yeah.
You can actually instantly kill wards by auto R, auto attack Q in Cougar form.
That's true.
Auto R, boom Q.
Yep.
It's very, very instantaneous.
Well, Impaler right here, though. We don't see this almost ever from Jungle Nidalee. Started with traps here.
You see
it
sometimes.
You see
it sometimes. They want to set up the traps throughout the jungle. Yeah, I've seen a decent amount of Nidalees actually do it. It doesn't hurt your clear that much. Your first clear is just
slightly slower.
Yeah, and you still get the root and auto attack because it puts on the hunt on them.
Right. Let's be the case here, and Impaler is going to go do some early damage to this Gromp, get a leash from Veritas as Final 5 have lane swapped, and with Veritas leashing, Sheep actually builds the freeze. Looks like the same thing happened, though, for Otter, so 2-on-1 lanes.
They had a ward in the top lane, though, so they saw Sheep come into this from enemy's side, so they knew that this was happening, and Body Drop immediately doesn't have to help with the freeze. He goes and he checks the jungle to make sure that the red is there, and that nobody's starting on that side of the map.
Looks like Rux will get a nice, easy, quick, clean kill on the Direwolves. And that's going to be fine. Okay. Level 2 signed. We'll see if he teleports into the lane. It looks like, actually... Yeah, no, the lane will be frozen, but the way that people build freezes right now, the first few waves are actually pretty easy to gain experience off of in the bot lane. And we are going to see Sion TP after all. These things, despite it being a freeze, will die in XP
Coming around
range.
gate.
Trashy gets the flash knock up there. Gate flashes away, but guess what? Flares is here, and one more attack's going to do it. Trashy with first blood.
That's the early aggression from enemy. You see, he's not afraid to burn summoner spells to get a summoner spell from Gate and that first blood. That was a flash and a ghost for the flash to kill.
That's pretty worth it. +1 summoner for first blood. I'll take that any day of the week. And NME Esports continue to play aggressively. Their dual lanes in the bot lane, they feel pretty fine. They've already got 1 buff. They're trying to take Impaler's buff in the bottom side. And in fact, NME Esports already set themselves up for a 3 buff here.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to, once you kill that mid laner and the jungler comes to hold the lane, you know exactly where that Nidalee is. You can even wait in this bush and see if he tries to come through.
I would hope that he doesn't do it there. Impaler's got to know that side of the jungle is not his, but NME Esports not being punished for starting in the north jungle whatsoever. Get a lot out of it. Yeah, we kind of see the minimap scares, but Impaler cues it and says, that shouldn't have died to a javelin. That was injured.
Yep. Gets himself some information. They took his red, level 3 off of leeching the minions waves in mid. But the big thing here is the fact that Trashy is now ahead. We also have Flares not suffering from the lack of being in a lane. But Inox is also off the ground here. He still has an aggressive summoner spell available to him, and defensive, of course.
Yeah, and it's interesting to seeing how the lanes keep going on, though. As we talk about summoner spells, I want to talk about lane matches as well. See, Flare's been running around the jungle repeatedly as Aurelia for 4 minutes straight here. And the way this lane is set up, Final 5 could shove top lane into the turret and get a lot of turret damage because they're not being opposed at all. You get the same XP denial by letting all the minions die to the turret, but you also get turret damage down, which is just superior than the alternative. And if Relay does show up, you can make it freeze again without much issue, really.
But I think that the fact that Rux is sitting in the lane right now is good for them because Aurelia is just getting experience from roaming around with Trashy. So Rux is actually at a big advantage here, and the fact that them freezing is good for them on top for Final 5.
Yeah, well, I guess Flares is opting to double jungle as a result of the freeze all the same. And we'll see if NME Esports will get themselves the Dragons. And we often see in lane swaps, especially with the support Sheep still top lane, he's just sitting there in a 2 versus 0 lane. He's not going to be in position to stop this Dragon whatsoever. And oh, they're pushing it now.
Yeah.
They only now did it 5 minutes in.
They're pressing it now. He's going to lose a lot of experience.
They don't have a cannon wave in this one. It seems like a really odd wave to push. They did it 1 wave late.
Well, they also... None of this is going to actually go over to FLICKR because he has to stay for this Dragon.
Yeah.
So it's still a good move because it's just going to bounce off that turret. It's going to bounce maybe halfway. FLICKR will have to back and then TP to the top lane with whatever item he picks up from his early game.
Get like a Ruby Crystal, but
yeah, he'll get Ruby Crystal, a longsword or so.
See what the man wants to do. Ruby Crystal, some wards and potions, okay. And he's going to walk to the lane here because the wave's already pretty much guaranteed to be denied. And I got to track what Final 5 are doing with the rest of their team comp, though. They didn't contest Dragon. They haven't found any ganks for themselves. It's just Impaler spamming the jungle here. Level 4 on him. Not having to share XP is keeping him above levels over Trashy.
Yeah, that early game splitting of experience and the fact that Sion is so good in lane swaps. Sion 2v1 so easily that Rux can just sit here, get a CS advantage, get a level advantage. He's 2 levels up over FLICKR, who just arrived to top lane. And now Trashy has to show himself top to relieve this pressure to allow his top laner to even CS.
I want to actually see this top lane real quick, though, as we talk about relieving pressure in the top lane. That's a good hook on a FLICKR. The Flay actually gets him off the choppers, but he queues back in to tank him anyway. The thing is, this turret's at like 300 health right now, and Veritas finally does push the wave in. They do get the turret kill. That's why I was talking about pushing the wave in, because you get pressure for that. Final 5, as it turns out, just waited till Dragon was on the table, and that timing actually did work, you know, all said and done.
Yeah, they ended up getting the fast push on afterwards, and FLICKR didn't TP to the turret. Shows up, but he needs Trashy there at the same time. So that early Dragon from Enemy cost them in the HP bars and also the positioning on the map that they gave up that top turret.
Yeah, I mean, all that time spent in the bottom lane. But the thing is, there was no way to push the bottom lane anyway. Rux was getting XP. He was high enough level that he wasn't going to get bullied out.
Against a Sion, it's really difficult.
That's what, yeah, exactly. That's just, I mean, it's good play by Rux, and it's a good champion for it as well. He wouldn't allow Enemy to fast push. And you can see, like, Otter can do some damage, but these minions, they die basically in auto attack early, which means the turret just can't slay these. Or, sorry, they die so much faster that they don't do any damage back to the turret.
Rux hit that level 6, already has his ultimate.
Yeah.
This is the time that Final 5 should be comfortable making an aggressive move in the game.
That's true. They have a small gold lead for themselves. Their AD carry was able to farm really safely and is now recalled back for items.
Lead too.
Yeah, this is a big window for Veritas to do something great. You can see a small CS deficit of 2. Not a big deal, though. The gold lead from the turret kill gives him boots, which can matter, especially in a range disparity matchup like this one, Jinx versus Sivir. So I want to see if Final 5 can do something, as you said, with this duo lane.
It's the duo lane and Rux having that advantage over FLICKR at the moment.
Yeah, I do want to see aggression from them.
Rux got bullied around last time. He won the early game versus FLICKR's, but then later on just fell to the wayside. Both these champions scale extraordinarily well in the top lane. Really have to keep tabs on that matchup because Sion is just so potent.
Nice stun for body drop and dodge the hook as well. That was actually, it's always so risky when you're like, Thresh could hook me. If he hooks me, I'm probably going to die or lose flash. I'm going to dodge this, and he does. Yeah,
Sheep did a really good job there of facing Otter and then throwing it off to the right. It looked like he was going to click it onto Otter, but he didn't, and he forced the spell shield too.
That's the thing about Annie lanes is that you really want to almost always aim for the Annie. Even though she gets her damage out at the very start of the fight anyway, she's just so darn squishy that you can go for her, and being immobile is a weakness that you can sometimes abuse. Hook doesn't land though, bot lane holds equal so far. We watch back in the mid lane here, and Inox actually having a great start up against Gate. First blood obviously helps.
Oh man, the 3-man gank mid again?
Ooh, pink wards, they know that these guys are around. Flares will clear it.
That's going to tip off Final 5.
Yeah.
And Enemy that is on this side of the map. So
they know where all 5 are of Enemy Esports.
They also know where all 5 of everybody is on Final 5, though.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they're on the bot lane, so Rux can do whatever he wants. Like, we have still yet to see Flares actually lane this game, from what I can tell.
Yeah, he went up and he lost his lane.
Rux is up 2 levels.
Yeah.
That's a big freaking deal.
And it's a Sion, too, so it's not going to get any better. The fact that he puts so many points into his queue, his level scaling is absurd right now.
Yeah. One team's got a dragon and a kill, other team's got a turret, but there's a bunch of experience that matters as well. Inox, a late blue buff here.
Yeah. both these mid laners, the fact that it's an AP cog makes them very blue buff dependent and very tier dependent too. You want that stacked up as soon as possible.
Now, interestingly, in NACS, we're seeing Tear the Goddess into an Amp Tome. Now that could be for Codex to build a Chalice, or sorry, an Athene's or a Melanomicon. It could be the start of Luden's Echo. He's not going Tier Roa. That's basically what I'm getting at, is that sometimes we see the double stacking build on COG.
I assume it's going to be Athene's because Athene's is really good right now, but he doesn't have too much magic damage against him.
Yeah.
But you want a CDR item of some kind.
There's the hook, and the zap was already in range. That was really nicely played. The Sheep stun, though, meant he couldn't play. And a trade of Otter's ulti and body drops flash is a good thing for Final 5.
Yeah, really good. The fact that they don't even blow their flashes or their ultimates means that if they can get the right engage, it's going to be kills falling into Final 5's hands. But both junglers are now in attendance in the bottom lane.
You can flash Flay at any time, but Trashy snuck in. Veritas down to half health, has to be afraid. Sheep looking to lantern in.
Stuns up.
There's the anti-stun, Impaler's in comes Gragas, and Trashy gets the kill. Impaler has to flash out, and body drop could almost follow this one up for another kill. Not quite going to chase it down, but a great counter gank there by NME Esports.
Trashy knew that was coming with them having their summoner spells down on his side.
I mean, he already prepared it.
Definitely, they prepped it. They swept the bush, they warded it. They made sure that he had a way in there. From a long time ago, then they protected their territory.
Yeah, the body slam flash, second in a row, both of them giving kills over to Trashy himself and NME Esports.
The lantern backwards is a huge giveaway that there's somebody there.
Yeah, there was. But the thing is, he should have been able to force it, right? It's like, okay, Annie's got no flash. If I flash Flay you die guaranteed the Nidalee Jinx. Well, guess what? Gragas is there, counter-engages it, and it was great play. Rux now versus Flares. It's a 2-level lead.
Rux has ulti still, so...
Yeah.
He forces the ulti from Flares. He's going to try to poke him down again and apply pressure, and just waste all of his potions, all of his flask charges. Sion is still a big lane bully on this patch.
Nice spell shield by Otter. And we're just going to see ward control remain. Good job keeping the pink ward up in Tri-Brush. One of the best wards you can keep as blue side duo lane. Just get a pink ward in that Tri-Brush and never let it go. If it dies, buy a new one. Keep that stuff dark. It's an easily protected ward, and it's a very valuable one. Pro tip to all the bottom laners out there. AD carry or support, buy one if one's not up.
Solo Q is going to thank you for that tip.
Similarly, if you're red team, just green ward it every time.
Yeah.
If you get ward control, if you ever get lane control back and they're stuck just in a turret, green ward that, clear the turret out, or the ward out. And just like fight over that brush is one of the biggest things you can do in the bot lane. And you saw them doing it here, and I think that battle will continue.
We get to see what Inox is starting to build with that Amp Tome. I'm very interested.
Sitting on 1,700 gold right now, so.
Okay, so it is a Melanomicon.
All right.
All right, so he's going for the cooldown reduction, which I think is the right build.
Yeah.
On Kog'Maw, AP Kog'Maw, you want some type of CDR, and against this team, Athene's is not really going to cut it.
No. It's more gold for less AP, and like you get some mana regen. Like technically, Athene's and Tier have synergy because you regen, you know, based on max mana essentially.
It's wasted combat stats on MR against this team.
I mean, if you don't need the mana, you don't want to buy it, and if you doesn't need that, then it's not worth the cost. So
these two teams are neck and neck though. 13 minutes in. 2 kills to a turret is the big difference here, even in Dragons. And now Trashy, that's actually the enemy blue buff. He's taking Final 5's blue.
NME Esports, they feel like the team that's like ahead on the map overall. It just kind of feels that way based on how they're playing. The ganks are working, the buff steals are happening, all that fun stuff. But the lanes actually kind of tell a bit of a different story. A really nice recall in from Veritas gives him, I think, the 80 carry 12-minute dream, which is Zerk Greaves and the 2 big attack damage items. He's going to be incredibly scary. Rux is still winning top lane and has a frozen heart now in time for any fight that might happen. It's only Gate who's a bit behind, but not terribly so.
Oh yeah, the Frozen Heart shuts down that Aurelia's aggression by a big part. You get that item spike for yourself, you get your nice CDR and your armor, but against Aurelia it's even more effective because she's so auto-attack reliant.
Absolutely, and it's, you know, still no Triforce done yet for her. It's going to be a bit of an uphill road.
And here's the thing too about the Frozen Heart against Aurelia is this is patch 5.6. Aurelia's Equilibrium Strike has reduced damage, 40 at max rank. It's pretty much 10 per rank has gone down. So it's maxing of the W now that happens on Aurelia. The E-maxing is not as common anymore. Because people used to do it for magic damage trades.
Ah, I see.
So the Frozen Heart's even more effective against Aurelia's.
Well, looks like Rux does feel plenty effective. Level 9.5 here, and even though he's getting his lane pushed in, there's about 10 CS waiting for him to grab that, so he's still going to maintain a very strong level and gold lead. He'll hit 10 off this wave. Flair's barely level 9. Keeping that one level advantage here for Rux, and he's just free farming. I mean, keep in mind, like, you have an infinite health stacking champion here who's going to keep getting gigantic.
But here's the thing: is I would expect him to be higher CS up over Flair's.
That's true.
They're very close, despite Flair's having double jungle for the majority of the early game.
Well, he did come into lane actually at close CS. Like, Rux didn't get much in his jungle. It's mostly the XP lead. Is really what was paid off as.
EXP. He wasn't completely zoned.
Yeah.
And I do actually want to touch on the maxing of E versus W again.
Okay.
Because it's not I haven't fully exhausted that point yet. You can still max the E if you're getting gank assistance, is the thing. Because it's a very good tool.
You want the stun duration.
And getting the stun duration, even the slow duration.
Sure, that's good too.
Is worth it. So it's an actual trade-off now instead of just always maxing E.
Seems pretty smart, and so far we're seeing W max Aurelia. DPS going to be a good thing here. Now body drop once again. Trashy, he's basically got flash. Then look again for the bottom lane.
Watch for the cask. Where is he going to land it? Oh, from behind Rux.
Flanking though. Turret going to get assaulted. Veritas gets bursted out right away and goes down. And Sion actually misses. Trash is going to walk away safely. Nothing happening here for these guys. Impaler's in the mix, but does nothing with it. Oh my God! Wow! What a shot, and they take down body drop.
Impaler with the spear, weaving it through.
Ridiculous.
Ooh.
Absolutely ridiculous.
He wouldn't have had to land it, though, if Rux had landed his ultimate. He just passed by them.
True.
He was regrouping with his team.
Goodbye, Jinx.
Oh, but hello.
Ooh.
Oh, wait.
Swap play?
Wait. Nope.
Inox gets away on that one. Nice try there, like the coordination, but Impaler's still getting a lot of burst down, and they will take down Inox. He should survive the explosion. He's got the heal available, I assume, and actually just hops right away. Wait, did Impaler flash for that?
Yeah, looked like it.
I think Impaler flashed to get away. I'm gonna back up and check.
He may have he flashed earlier. He didn't flash for getting away.
No, he flashed getting away from it. I'm watching it now.
Oh, he did, yeah?
He flashed the ulti, or the passive.
Just out of camera range. Yep.
I think his lantern came in like right then, so he probably didn't really have to.
Sometimes you misjudge the damage or you just don't want to risk it.
Yep.
I mean, it is a level 11 Kog'Maw.
Sure.
So the amount of, or level 12 Kog'Maw. So the amount of damage he would have done with it is 100 times 25 per level. So
300.
300.
Plus 100 is 400.
Yeah.
Well, you do the math in your head, and that's what he had. So the swap comes in, but unfortunately, Inox Flash is left. But still, it's a slowed Kog'Maw. A lot of burst comes out from these two. Impaler has 500 health. He would have lived. Yep.
Gotta calculate it in that moment.
How often does he really face, you know, a mid lane Cog though, who's over leveled?
Oh,
Rux comes in, gets one stun. Trashy forced to flash away, but knocks Rux back in. They just turn onto him, and down goes the Sion. He's engaged from the passive.
He was putting a bounce house there, was not able to actually do too much. That's gonna cost him though. That's this middle turret going down. Enemy are gonna get a lead in this game.
Man, for Trashy, not like a tank junglers, his Gragas sure is impressive in this series. And the aggression for Final 5, they had some really good choices. Sion got a bunch of XP, Jinx got a turret kill, a lot of good things, but the gank power of Trashy is too much to bear.
Yeah, he's still playing that late game jungler as an aggressive type displacement jungler. So he's showing up to the lanes and trying to affect them as much as possible. You saw him use his body slam flash so early.
Yeah. Almost every gank involved that in some way, and it's been great to watch. Trashy definitely putting on the carry pants this game and is just letting everyone else get ahead in this game.
Oh man, Righteous Glory for him too.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's looking to just get these fights. Sivir ultimate on top of Righteous Glory is actually one of my favorite things in the game.
It's so strong. You run ridiculously fast. We might see if Body Drop goes for the Lust Boy build of Talisman of Ascension as well. It looks like Impaler, though, will be able to get Scuttlebutt control in time for this Dragon spawn. So the question is, do Final 5 feel safe to contest this objective? Because enemy esports are starting to really control the map now.
They have good ward coverage on it at the moment from Final 5. They got the Scuttler. So they'll have a lot of things going for them at this Dragon. The big thing that isn't going for them, though, is the fact that Trashy has good displacement. They have the Sivir ultimate. Not up, though, for the rundown from Otter.
You know,
so
yeah,
some key elements here. I do think the Final 5 should just get in place to take this because they have an advantage here.
Well, let's see. TPs are equal. The top laner is going to be out of this fight for now. Recall comes from Aurelia. Flares might want to show up for this one as the lane is pushed enough to not threaten any turrets. Rux will walk away.
They put bottom though.
Nice, yeah, so Final 5 got control of the bot lane here, and NME Esports kind of prioritizing different spots in the map does get this away. Trashy will not be able to clear the pink ward away. And it's actually kind of a good sign then for Final 5 that they've been able to grab their second turret of the game, bring the game back within 2.5K.
They've been wrestling objectives slowly but surely back from NME. But NME now have control of the Dragon area. They're waiting for the Scuttler to despawn. They're waiting for these wards to time out and get their own control. And you can see the pink ward to see. Wouldn't be surprised if they start up right now. Trashy also has another pink ward in his inventory that he could place down in the pit, which is just 100% secure for them. But no, they're going to just check these brush. Final 5 are going to try to move in, but here's the thing is Scion's there engaged. It's going to be on Rux to get a good ultimate off.
Trashy bursts it down, gets
there
the Dragon. Scion gets in for a bit, and Flares gets locked up. Annie ult onto the back line. Now, where's the damage going to come through? Big Jinx but doesn't knock anyone down. And the first casualty is the Thresh. Now, Rux getting chased away as well. Otter's fairly safe. Dodges the zap and all as well. Final 5. I don't know if they have enough time to push down mid, but they did a decent amount of damage that maybe NME Esports can't defend this yet.
Yeah, that was a 1-for-0 in favor of NME. And they got the Dragon, too. So Final 5, they're going to try to push down this mid lane. Here's the thing is, NME, they do have 3 members still here. They still have good things available to them. Inox, he can just keep spamming his ultimate.
Yep. And Final 5, thing is, Final 5 had a decision to make. They could have contested Dragon, or they could have just simply rushed mid and guaranteed trading a turret for Dragon. They chose to contest, and instead of getting the trade, they lose a kill and get nothing for it.
Yeah. They could have shoved the Dragon the entire time, or shoved the mid lane the entire time. But instead, they just move in, try to get some pressure on here. Rux, he gets an okay ultimate off. He only hits flares though, and then the follow-up and the recollapse from Otter is so quick due to the Sivir ultimate. They pick up Sheep because he's in the front line, but this is the thing, is once that Righteous Glory is completed, this is going to be an even bigger team fight advantage for NME, where they can use the Sivir ultimate to run backwards and forwards, and they can use the Righteous Glory if they want to engage even harder. And it's completed now for Trashy. He's sitting on that 100% kill participation. He gets to get his team into the fight very quickly, and allows the Kog'Maw to continue to advance as the front line does.
True, and this is looking pretty good for NME Esports. I'm still continually impressed by Trashy, who just is so far ahead. He's cashed it in for team utility. Right, Rush to Sightstone is still on 2 big completed items. Impaler just now finished Roa. It's just now stacking. It's actually at 0 at this time into the game, and has just so much room still to grow. Final 5 have a lot of waiting to do if they want to catch up in this game.
They just got Gates' transformation on the Muramana. Inox got his transformation, and it looks like he's working towards a Luden's Echo too on that Kog'Maw.
Could be Lichbane, actually.
That's true.
A good Lichbane user.
He's pretty good. You just have to get that distance with the W active.
Which you max second on Cog typically, I think, so we'll see if they go for that one. Flares, though, really in a bad spot, and Impaler and Rux make a lot of good plays. No ward control. Flares had really nowhere to go. His Q is up, resets again. He's just running out of here.
Here comes Trashy. Can Trashy disengage them and save flares?
Wow, yep.
Yep.
Jeez, this is getting rough, but Body Drop gets caught out there. Big Jinx Rocket gets 1. Now can they trade? Back onto Otter and Inox. The answer is maybe a little bit, but Otter still gets a kill for this one. But it looks like a 3-for-1 in NME Esports' favor. Inox has Ghost on, but gets knocked up, and that will be a kill picked up. Now run away from the Voidooz. Sheep will live, so will Veritas, and that's finally a good fight for Final 5.
Yeah, puts them within 2K of NME, who are tournament favorites. So this game is not going the way NME had imagined from Champion Select into the loading screen.
Wow, only a 2,000 gold difference here. Very impressed with Final 5's mid-game now to find a fight that they could finally win. And F5 now looking to get themselves a bit farther ahead in the semifinal.
A lot of that was off of hitting that spike with Gate, hitting that Muramana, activating it, getting that extra damage off, and having Veritas there. Veritas is a huge part of their strategy, and the fact they got the swap in the hook onto Body Drop and just beasted him down. That flash forward also cost Otter his life. Rux TP'd
Great play by Sheep.
Yeah, Rux TP'd in on that just to steal that kill.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually Veritas could have died without Rux's help, just because you saw how much damage Inox was putting out.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, the prior engage on a flare was knocking him low. One could TP, the other couldn't. That was kind of a nice factor there. But I gotta say, Sheep's play in that fight was actually quite nice. The hook onto Otter right away, then the flash play to keep the lockup onto Inox was very, very impressive. I just want to give him some praise for, you know, the new support on the team, making some good plays.
It was the back-to-back hooks, too, because he got body drop, then afterwards got Otter. And it was the follow-up that they needed, because if body drop could have just walked away, it would have been really bad for them, because they dedicated so much to it.
Could have easily been a 1-for-1, but it was a 3-for-1, and that's just nice things. So Final 5 have equalized the turret score. They have nearly equalized the champion kills as well. It's just the Dragon advantage that NME Esports holds right now. And I gotta see if Final 5 can keep this comeback going.
A lot of it's the CS advantage in that mid lane too. Almost 70 up for NOX over Gate. Gate was about 20 behind, and then it just kept growing and growing, and it hasn't stopped getting larger.
He's gonna try to steal this one. Trashy. Oh, Gate gets it, an early smite. Actually, a non-smite by Trashy. The burst comes out, making it a good thing for Gate here. Red buff Urgot.
Looks like he was just relying on the barrel explosion, but it's not an AP Gragas. He's super tanky, so he doesn't have that extra burst.
Yeah, well-timed Q by Gate, and he's going to sit on this buff, which is actually a nice person to have it. Jinx is the ideal, but it's really not that bad on Urgot there. Auto attacks will apply it. Acid Hunters will not. They do not apply on hits. But you'll still get some autos. You'll keep people perma-slow. It'll be a happy time. Quick wave clear. Rux can one-shot minions, casters minions with his Q. Big tank items there. Frozen Heart now, a Banshee's Veil added. So good luck getting through this Scion. And if he chooses to be disruptive, it will be difficult for NME Esports to deal.
And the Dragon in 15 seconds. Both teams have okay vision over it. Nobody has vision into the pit just yet. So they need to move in. No pink wards in the inventory for Final 5, though. They can't sweep vision. They only have Sheep with 1, 2, the 2, plus the upgraded sweeping lens of body drop.
Yeah, well, there's 2 sweepers off cooldown right now that for Final 5. We'll see what they choose to clear away from. They'll catch 1 thanks to the upgrade of Impaler, and they go right for the Dragon right away. You can see, though, Aurelia has teleport. Flares could join, but they will not get there in time. Dragon 2 goes cleanly to Final 5, and they are really clawing their way back into this game.
Very quick Dragon there, very decisive call. And also the fact that Enemy had not set themselves up with proper vision around the pit or in the pit.
Yeah.
They couldn't see that coming. After it got swept, they were afraid to come in because Flares wants to split push this and cause pressure.
Exactly. It's been good. NME Esports, though, they make the play to go to the left-hand side. Final 5 are aware of this, but will they get there in time? All 5 NME Esports are here. They go for the blue buff first. They've got the wave into the turret. Inox will be the last one to the party, but already this turret's taken health. Here comes the Rux ulti. Will they get what they want? Flares will get stunned. The hook's going to be good as well. Flashes out safely, but the re-engage comes in. Nice rocket. Now, where's the follow-up? A bunch of CC comes in. Enemy Esports going to get away.
Sivir ultimate right there, helping them get away. Trashy, popping the Righteous Glory. It only helps you when you're moving towards people.
But, you know, in case you want to turn around, it was there, I guess. Who knows?
The option was there. Big thing about that was they had to take that fight to get them off the turret, because one thing that this Final 5 roster, or at least this lineup, in terms of what they've drafted, is bad at, is wave clear. It's just Jinx.
Yeah.
They don't have any other types of wave clear.
Sion can like yell at minions and press Q, and he's tanky enough that he's not going to get destroyed for it, but it is a riskier wave clear when you could like get Dragon into the team and your life becomes a pain.
Yeah, you'll clear a wave if you have both them together, though, very quickly. If you're firing a Jinx rocket on top of whatever Sion has E'd, but Sion, Q, E combined, he has to get both them off, and the Q has to be fully charged for him to clear a wave.
Those can all be difficult things. Flares, though, just kind of stylish wave clear, I guess, for him. Spams R. Q actually missed a CS, so it's on cooldown right now. And he... all right, good. So, split push farm is going to Flares a lot, actually. Rux has been getting less and less farm over time. Enemies have been prioritizing gold on Flares. There's Aurelia, who's going to get some tank items real soon. Frozen Heart's almost done. The parts of the Banshee's not far away either. Could be a very disruptive and hard to take down Aurelia.
And that's the thing, too, is he was also behind in the early game.
Yeah.
He was down 2 levels. Now he's up in CS, 40 CS. He's down in kills, but the thing is now he's even in experience. They're both hit 14. They're both at the start of 14 as well.
Yeah. At 14.2 for these guys.
But a different level advantage I want to talk about is Inox. He's 16 to the 14 of Gate.
Oh,
so
wow.
he has that rank 3 ultimate that he's just going to rain down on and try to poke Final 5 off of turrets, and he has the Luden's Echo completed.
Yep, Luden's poke. Here comes the TP. Scion flank, though. They need flares. Join the team, and
Trashy's
the
gonna
ulti
body
hits
it.
Trashy, but that's a tank. Who cares? Otter kites around doing what he can. Rux takes some damage, but they actually manage to catch flares in the teleport. They go for him first, and he goes on down. Here's the re-engage. Rux trades his life. Both top laners are dead.
Trashy still has ulti.
A bit of the target. Impaler's got to flash away, though. Trashy flashes in, knocks in Nidalee. What a great fight there. NME Esports get their second kill of the battle. They want a siege.
The fact they all collapsed and then Flares TPing in distracted the backline of Final 5 so they couldn't collapse. This might be them getting into that Baron area. It's going to be really rough for them to do.
There's still a lot of tools, though. Gate has ulti, Sheep can hook, and Veritas has the rocket as well. NACS will play zoning duty, but he's on top of the ward for this one, so playmaking very possible here.
He's just trying to poke them out. He's trying to keep his zone so they can't get in.
Hook's going to miss. Baron down to 5 health by left corner. You can see the health bar getting lower and lower. Veritas can nearly one-shot Trashy with the ultimate. They're going to find NOX here. This could be Rux. Sheep goes down. Rocket catches one. There's the cleanup. Veritas gets a second. Otter's going to drop as well. 3 kills picked up. The chase is still on. NOX, though, bursts them out.
Whoa!
Wow. 3-for-2 fight. The battle overall goes even. And NME Esports walk away.
Man, that ooze just melting him. That was acid ooze right there with the Luden's Echo. Man, I thought Veritas was going to clean up, but no.
AP Cog got to command respect, man.
Man. Just threw up all over him, and he's done. That's it. AP Kog'Maw is a little disgusting.
A little bit.
Literally, and I guess, in a...
Yeah, in a... Wow, that's a lot of damage sense.
Yeah.
I got you.
I guess that's literally and literally? I don't know.
No, it's a metaphor. It's like a metaphor.
Yeah.
Because you're not actually disgusted by Kog'Maw's damage. You're just like,
I am.
I guess you could be. I just like to think it's cool.
But I'm also disgusted by his CS, because he's 100 CS up over his lane opponent right now.
Yeah.
31 minutes in the game. He's at that 10 per minute mark.
What are you laughing at now?
He's doing such a good job on this Kog'Maw against an Urgot. And we talked about how Urgot, we don't know the counter for him yet. Maybe it's AP Kog'Maw. Maybe it's the fact that he can stay out of the Noxian Corrosive Charge range for so long.
Yeah. Well, not getting denied, getting tier into Morellonomicon. Plenty of mana regen here. And it's interesting because the general trend of this game is the teams seem to be fighting pretty close to equal, but NME Esports are just securing more farm. Down the line, everyone's pretty much out CSing their opposite except for Impaler here, who's just managed to prioritize a little bit more farm, but 50 minion lead for Flares, 100 minion lead for Inox, another 30 minion lead for Otter. That's a lot of money just extra going to NME Esports.
They're kind of bleeding gold to Enemy at this point if they're not picking up their side waves and having them crash against turrets.
Yep.
Because Enemy have been farming up the sides, wave clearing with the Kog'Maw, wave clearing with Sivir, and then grouping up.
Right.
Final 5, though, I do want to touch on this because they caught them at the Baron, which is a really good fight for them. They cleaned up a bit, and they stopped that attempt, and now they have to start answering what Enemy are doing just like that. Because if they're pushing, you have to find a way to do it, because Rux isn't always going to have teleport. You can't always make those plays, and then look at that. They lose it because they're getting out-rotated.
They are. It's really good by NME Esports here. Scion does not find the flank he wants. That hook was heartbreaking. It caught a minion, sadly. It was a really good flame chomper and everything else, but Flares stayed safe.
They swept it. There they go. Righteous Glory.
Sheep slowed down, hooks Flares in the face, and Rux gets a couple man ulti, but it's going to be one kill already picked up by Otter. Rocket comes in, does almost no damage. It only hits the 2 tanks here. And every one of NME Esports fairly safe to keep going down mid. And I don't know if this is a good rotation here for Final 5. Flares will cut them off, so will Trashy, who still holds the ultimate. And these guys have to recall to defend the inhibitor.
Trashy's just face tanking all of the ultimates from Rux.
Yep.
Soon as the Scion ultimate comes out, he willingly walks into it so his carries don't get hit by
Body
it.
drop catches Veritas, though. Hold on, they turn right away and catch the Jinx base gate. Ends up being a betrayal, and the inhibitor turret will go down, likely the inhib too.
This game was so close for 25 minutes, and then Enemy have been showing that their team fighting, the way that they're handling this team comp, is just a little bit superior.
Just their overall map play. It's a risk-averse style, but it's paying off where they are prioritizing minion wave control first. We can do other stuff afterwards. And you can see Final 5 slower to realize that a lot of the time.
But here's the thing is, when you control the minion waves and Final 5 are lacking wave clear like I touched on, because you really need that Scion and that Jinx grouped up to deal with the waves. If you're pushing all 3 waves, you only have 2 people who can really deal with it. If the Urgot is by himself clearing, it's a slow wave clear on Urgot.
Yep. He's always going to be behind Inox, and you can kind of see that here, where sometimes he just has to give up that farm because he's got to go do something else. And NME Esports with a high wave clear comp doing quite well.
Yeah,
We'll see nice easy wave clear.
FLICKR is even treating Aurelia like an AoE wave clear.
Sure,
when he's throwing out his ultimate. But look at this. They see this though.
It'll work. Rex doesn't even click the lantern. Come on. It's right there.
He still wants to stay in the front line, just in case.
Just in case, I guess. Red buff. Oh. Body drop gets stopped. Okay, so it is worth keeping in mind, though, that a lot of kills have still gone to Veritas. We've talked about how NME Esports are playing the rotations. They've taken down middle inhibitor. Baron probably on the plate pretty soon. But the teamfight power is still here. Rux is still huge. Veritas is at 3 items right now on this Jinx and can break down tanks who don't have a lot of armor items, really. In fact, there are no armor items for Trashy and only really one for Flares. So the Jinx potential does exist, but it's going to be still really hard for Final 5.
But Gragas is going to take reduced damage just at all
for like
points.
2 seconds, right?
Yeah, it's a decent amount in the team fight when he gets in there.
2.5.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is a 3.6-second cooldown with his CDR, so like it'll be back up soon. There's a bit of that. See a bunch of damage can be dealt during those windows. The poke, Inox unafraid, really just spamming R and Gate, loses some health for it. But Impaler,
they have to deal with super minions now.
Yep.
At the same time, this team already struggled with wave clear.
And you can see that NME Esports using that wave clear advantage, using the minion pressure advantage to say, okay, you're all mid. We can see Flares versus Sion in the bot lane. Let's get ward control back. Upgraded sweeper, walk around, get some pink wards down. Easy peasy. They know they are not going to be contested for this, and they just keep getting better and better vision. Now they've got Baron basically blacked out. And it means that when they choose to go for Baron, Final 5 won't know if it's a bait or a rush.
The fact they got all that ward coverage out means they can go between middle and top.
Yeah.
There's nothing for them to take middle, but Final 5 still have to throw people at that mid lane because of the fact that it has no inhibitor and super minions barreling down it. Both TPs to the top, though. We're going to see a fight very soon, very short.
Esports wants it on this wave. The backline healthy enough to contribute in a battle. The hook on the Trashy. Will that be the one to go for? Gets out. Gate gets ulted, gets jumped on. He will stay alive, though, and Flares gets swapped into the back line. Now, is it going to be enough? Rux buys some time. Otter stays for the inhibitor turret, and they get it. The mid lane's already been pushed in, so it's an easy rotation, and Rux will be the target and gets killed. 1-0, and the inhibitor turret is down. Enemy Esports still inside the base, and that means 2 inhibitors.
They just kite backwards. They separate really well, and the fact that Otter's allocating all his damage to the turret and not the team fight, and still Final 5 cannot deal with what enemy are throwing at them is really confusing for me, because the fact that that's a huge amount of damage that's not in the fight. Is Inox really doing that much damage as his AP?
Yes.
Apparently so.
Inox is softening everyone up, and the problem is Final 5 just don't have enough damage to supplement Jinx when she can only hit tanks in the front line, and you're seeing the result of that here. They catch Trashy, they swap Flares, nothing happens to them. And the, wow, great flash done, Sheep's gone, Gate's gone as well. Now do they choose Baron once again? Do they choose the base? Baron once again.
I guess you never expect somebody to dodge a hook by flashing into you.
What happened here? Trashy going to try to block Impaler's attempts, and he's going to go right in for that one. Flare's now playing zoning duty.
Veritas.
He's got to be a bit afraid. Oki's in, catches body drop. Can he get more? It's a difficult question for him. Root's Trashy, but it's going to be hard to kill that tank. Otter gets crit, though, and holy crap, Veritas gets 3. Inox is pretty screwed as well. Flash of the way. No Baron attempt available, but Veritas keeps turning up in these Barons.
Nidalee, Impaler, they still have him up. They have a tank.
Oh my god,
they have a tank, they have a smite, and they have a main DPS here at the Baron. It's just Flares.
They're losing some magic resistant armor, though, with the Baron damage slowly taking up on these guys. Flare's still around.
Doesn't have a lot of mana left.
Pokes, Rux tanky, but Impaler's very low. That becomes actually a bit of an issue as Baron continues to whittle down to them. 5,000 health left. Trashy's up in 15. Flares and Inox just have what they've got here. Veritas still getting contested. Flares, the burst comes in, goes for the stun, almost takes him down, but another kill goes in. But minions are knocking down turrets, actually. One has actually fallen. No smite left. Inox can't possibly get it, and it will be Baron to Final 5. But they're down to 1 Nexus turret.
That's going to help them hold their base, though. With these Baron buffed up minions, they're not going to die as quickly, and they get to have that sustained wave clear. Enemy, with a bit of a misplay there, bit of a desperation Baron. They could have held off because they had 2 inhibitors with super minions coming down. Veritas plays this fight immaculately. the way
It's
he
so good.
positions that, he knows the flash is down because he flashed onto Sheep. Now, the crits he gets from this and the AoE damage, that's an AoE crit because of the way that the Jinx rocket works. Those crits in a row. Oh, man. And that's why they should center the team more around Veritas, this Jinx, this hyper carry, this top challenger solo queue player.
Hey, man,
knows
they're
how to
trying.
carry games.
They're trying, and as we talked about follow-up damage, so like, there's so many things that go into the equation. We don't have time to talk about all of them. I like Black Cleaver Urgot for helping Jinx carry. We talk about like protect the COG comps, like, oh yeah, you get a bunch of supports, you get a Nunu, you get a Janna, you get a Lulu. You can pick an Urgot and shred someone's armor for your AD carry, right? Impaler can help too, Gate can help as well. You've got a Frozen Heart to slow people down. Like, there's these elements here that turn Veritas into a bigger carry than you might expect. The problem is the fights don't last long enough for that to matter, because the front line of Final 5, it's only Rux. They can bypass him and just kill Sheep, they can kill Impaler, they can kill Gate, and until these guys tank up a bit more, Final 5 don't survive long enough for Jinx to carry. Once more, the fight begins over Dragon.
There's Righteous Glory. Rux is the only one in the front. They're going to try to shred through him with their damage.
And look at that! He's down to 1,000 health already. You can't contest this composition. Top inhibitor, by the way, is still dead. Rux has to recall with home guards to defend the Nexus. It's going to be Dragon number 4 over to NME Esports. Nothing Final 5 can do.
The fact that Rux is just getting chunked out, it's a multi-threat composition.
Well, he's stacked armor, which I
They're
think
not
is a
just
mistake.
armor, exactly. He has Banshee's Veil though, but
He went Frozen Heart and Randuin's.
he still has 2 items to buy though, so he'll get tankier. He's going to put more into that magic resist because right now he's just getting shredded by Inox. Also, to supplement your point on the Black Cleaver,
Yeah.
Noxian Corrosive Charge shreds percentage armor as
know.
well. So all of that
And it
on
even
top
ticks
of it.
Black Cleaver for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really, really good buy on Urgot, and it definitely helps your AD carries damage by an immense amount.
Yeah, you're gonna get, I'm gonna say 35% bonus damage with a fully stacked Black Cleaver in E is roughly the damage uptick you're getting for an AD carry against a reasonably high armor target. Enemy Esports just nursing this 5,000 gold lead. They've got Dragon 4. If they want to play it slow, let the inhib respawn. They are only 5 minutes away from Dragon 5. And Dragon 5 with a Kog'Maw, ludicrously easy to apply the dot. You will chunk people out, and life will be painful. Veritas, you can see, getting finally some magic resist. He's done a good job of dodging the Cog poke, but at a certain point, Inox is going to land it, and it's going to suck. Gate loses his entire shield for just an E. Keeps getting hit, loses 400 health.
It's just more and more and more, and they're just going after this turret and chunking it down slowly. Here comes Rux, though. He's going to block it.
That was so sick. He goes in with Spell Shield and stops it out. Gate gets stunned, but he's fairly tanky. Swaps in Flares. Rux in the front line. Flares still getting hit up. Rux survives it. Nice stop on the rocket, but it still means his turret is 1 hit from dead.
They have to go to their mid lane, too. Their mid lane has a big minion wave there.
Yeah.
But they have to clear. It wouldn't take this inhibitor, but it would still do a large amount of damage to it. They don't want it softened up at all.
No, not at all. You can see that these fights are getting a bit closer. Now, the turret helped, to be fair. That was a bit of a thing in the edge of Final 5, but you can see, again, the beef of Enemy Esports. You swap in the Aurelia. She still lives.
She's going to still live next time, too, because she just purchased a GA.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Good luck with
Challenger scene, we love our wave clear.
Sometimes when I'm Sivir, I attack 3 times and just wait, and I'm just like, watch this ricochet. And it just like kills 17 minions, and I just wait as it jumps around. It's a pretty fun situation. Yeah, a lot of money. I do want to see Otter eventually sell Shiv for Phantom Dancer, but that's going to be in a while here. It's not worth the cost of selling and rebuying until he gets the rest of his items upgraded, but just getting damage output, because look, Sion and Urgot, they're getting to that tank point pretty soon. Frozen Heart's not far away.
Oh, man.
On Gate anymore.
Trashy. Those spears hit his belly and they just tickle.
They're looking for Gate. He was wave clearing the bottom lane slowly, of course. Gets a lantern, though, thankfully. Trashy can't catch him in time.
Nice lantern there by Sheep. Not a nice hook, though, on the backside of it.
It's okay, though. And again, Dragon 3 minutes away. NME Esports do not have to push this. They can just purely play for vision control in South Jungle. Yes, Baron's up first, but they don't have to play for it. And Final 5 can't reliably go for Baron themselves either. I don't think. It would be a huge risk to leave your base for Baron. I think you want to wait for one more big item to be done here. It looks like, I think it's Thornmail for Rux. So he's not getting MR. He's not trying to deal with the poke of Inox whatsoever.
Well,
Maybe it's GA.
Inox will also get auto attacks off with percent HP magic damage. So
yeah, his W does 15% max health per auto. And without building any attack speed items, he's at 1.16 attacks per second. So yeah, it's a good amount of damage.
yeah, it's a really good amount. I was going to say before resistances, but he doesn't have that many. It's just that little bit of magic.
He'll have. There's no Void Staff yet. So.
Yeah.
There's still 7% max health after resist. It's a pretty high number.
Double Righteous Glory here for NME. And the Sivir ultimate. There's a lot of mobility on this team. And the big thing about that is Final 5 don't really have a good way to answer it. When the front line gets inside of their back line very quickly, it's hard to disengage it. The Jinx, Chompers, and Thresh and kiting backwards. But here's the thing, is Final 5 are usually the ones charging into the fight.
Yeah.
They're usually starting it, trying to force the issue, just because enemy are getting advantages off of rotating.
That's true. Well, NME Esports, interesting choice here. Body Drop actually does not go the Ascension build we see Lustboy typically do on Annie. He's actually going to go for a late Frost Queen's Claim to add more crowd control to the suite. I'm not sure if it is the right choice, but with Final 5 rushing in a lot, the slows will sometimes be very useful. Rux gets stunned, Flair's just playing the trading game. You don't expect much damage to be dealt on either side here, and that answer looks to be very little. Flair's with late Rune King, I think, in his build, though. He's got a dagger right now in inventory.
That or a Zephyr. Summerelli.
He buys a lot of Zephyrs.
Yeah.
He buys them on Hecarim, too, and not a fan. Okay, Otter out of items. He will be able to eventually now sell for Phantom Dancer. Oh, wow, that swap! Oh,
QSS.
that QSS was really good, yeah.
I saw him by the QSS, and I was like, is that for the Thresh hook? I guess it is, but also the suppression
Urgot.
from Urgot allows him to break that. Urgot still gets the resistances, though.
Sure, he gets some nice stats, but his flash is down for another 4 minutes.
Oh,
Body Drop looks for the engage, but nice chompers by Veritas buy a bit of time. Sivir to re-engage, flashes, catches the stun on the Sheep, and down goes the support. No, he flashes in time and pops the ulti. Good block by Inox to keep the rocket away from his AD carry. Enemy Esports, Dragon is up now. They took a fight, they got some damage done back and forth. Sheep's low, but Dragon is theirs for the taking.
Baron and Dragon are both up right now. They're going to go send Otter
good.
by himself. The AD carry can solo this. There isn't actually vision control from Final 5 to know that this is being done.
Until it falls, the buff goes on. Enemy Esports, though, feeling a bit afraid. I think they should, because Final 5 are trying to contest.
Inox's poke is huge right now.
And there it is. That
There's
is
the
Dragon
big Dragon.
50 true damage per second for 3 seconds. Flair's about to find Impaler, Q's in. And Impaler's, I think, going to die here. There's the slow. One more Q is up now and gets the kill. The recall's coming in for Final 5. They did not get chased out, but double inhib take is basically a guarantee here. And Inox going to join the team now as well. 5 versus only 2. Final 5 just have their carry lanes to go, and they swap Body Drop, but no, he stays alive thanks to a stun. Gate gets exploded. Rux in the fight. Veritas forced to run away. Can't possibly carry this fight anymore. Dodges a little bit of Cogmod damage, but there's the explosion. There's the shutdown, and finally, after a grueling battle, Enemy Esports take game 1. One more, and they're in the finals.
47 minutes and 45 seconds is what it took.
Yep.
Lot longer than what an Enemy were expected to do. And Final 5, considering their last week's performance against Enemy, they came out swinging here. We had with a very defined game plan. The Urgot pick on blue side. Also, they put a lot of resources into Veritas. 8-4-4 on the Jinx. He was very close to carrying this game.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game overall on Jinx. The cleanups were good. Some of that was over-aggression by Enemy Esports, taking a lot of Barons they really didn't have to. But it was really nice. So, Enemy Esports, you know, they played the map well as we expect.
Yeah.
First Dragon, first couple of turrets. No, sorry, first couple of kills, actually. Their ganks, especially from Trashy, so darn good. He made so much happen for the team. Early game lead, all his credit. All his credit, wonderful play. But it was like the Fusion game from yesterday. Enemy Esports set their sights on Baron, and every single time, basically, it backfired.
Yeah.
Every single time, Baron backfired for these guys. And they had to fall back to the Dragon win condition, which eventually did work.
They were lucky that they had put themselves so far ahead when they did that Baron. Because that Baron could have been a comeback there for Veritas. Veritas actually had 19.3 thousand gold, and the highest person on the enemy team was
19.8, 19.7.
19.8, 19.7. He was 500 gold closer.
Behind, yeah.
Yeah, 500 gold behind.
The most farm member of the game.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But also, the big part of that is there are turrets that fell into the hands of NME. Way more turrets that game. So he was getting kills, he was getting the gold, he was getting the farm for himself without that extra global gold, which is just a big, kind of just talks about how much they were putting into Veritas.
He's the wave clear, right? When you're the team on the defensive, your best wave clear gets all the gold. And unsurprisingly, Jinx crits a caster wave and it goes down and he gets all the money. But this, to me, speaks a little bit to, again, the way the mid game is getting played. So Baron mistakes notwithstanding, Final 5, NME Esports put a higher priority on wave control. They were getting more farm. Some of that's the champion picks. Some of that's the fact that Urgot's going to have a harder time late game against AP Cog. But the minions kept going enemy's way, the farm kept going their way, and then the ability to move around the map because of that wave control kept going enemy's way. And it was a couple of missteps that kept the game close, but otherwise it was enemy's game to control from 10 minutes on.
Yeah, I really like the AP Cog. It got through the laning phase. They ganked it with the double jungle immediately to put him ahead. So Inox had a really good game where he was unharassed in the mid lane and able to get to his power points and his power spikes where he can just lob poke at them. And he was very effective at landing his poke and managing his mana.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to say, I was very impressed by Inox.
Very consistent performer regardless of what champion he gets put on. I haven't seen a bad performance from him yet on a mid lane champion.
I agree with you entirely.
I'm trying to think about it.
I mean, to be fair though, he did double his average deaths per game this game. 7, 2, and 9. What a scumbag. Only had 8 KDA this game? Lowering his average? Inox, what are you doing, homie? It's playoffs. You got to step up your game here. But no, seriously, Final 5, obviously a very good game from them. Gate, his Urgot, unfortunately didn't seem to do much. He did get outlaned. Most people get outlaned by Inox, to be fair, but that sort of rabbit out of the hat didn't seem to pay off for these guys, unfortunately. And it felt like Urgot was largely powerless, where he couldn't find, like, he would swap in Irelia, and Irelia wouldn't die. He'd swap in Gragas, Gragas couldn't die. He'd swap Sivir, Sivir had a QSS. There was basically one good swap in that Western jungle by their blue buff. 30-ish minutes in, that was good. But otherwise, honestly, I didn't see Urgot do much.
This was one of the best teams I've seen at handling an Urgot mid pick. Pressure it early, blow its flash, immobile mid laner, he's gankable again. So just put that threat on him, and then the Urgot pressure early game is completely wiped out. So Kog'Maw gets ahead, Kog'Maw just pokes the entire game. You buy QSS on priorities later on, so even when he does flash and then swaps in, you just QSS it, so you traded a flash for a 90-second cooldown.
Well, this is what was so cool about the team comp is, think about the Urgot and the Annie picks. You've got two pretty darn reliable, stop channeling. And that happened so many times. And the thing is, you talk about QSS and priority targets, but Inox didn't buy one. He just kept buying ability power.
Oh, he just stayed in the back,
way back. I mean, obviously, like, he's playing way back, just, throwing from the half-court line. But the fact that if a flash swap ever happened, Trash was there to throw a barrel in. Or Body Drop was there to toss Tibbers down, or whatever spell he wants to use to trigger his passive. And that was repeatedly done by NME Esports to nullify. You talk about how well they handled Urgot. I agree. The champ select and the way they play those champions was really impressive. We get to keep singing enemies' praises because they won the game and they still look like that top team in Challenger. But we have to, commend Final 5 for making it a closer game than we thought. They played the lane swap, I would say, a bit better in terms of getting the turret kills, getting a lot of XP denial. Rux got into lane 2 levels up, got to have an early push lead, but unfortunately Final 5 couldn't keep the pressure up. Enemy Esports did win through, I would say, better mid-game play. Now, guys, we're going to step away for 3.5 minutes while the players get ready for the next champion select. But when we return, Enemy Esports looks to punch their ticket to the championship with one more victory against Final 5. Don't go anywhere. Gets the Dragon, Cyan gets in for a bit, and Flares gets locked up. Annie ult onto the back line. Now, where's the damage going to come through? Big Jinx up, but doesn't knock anyone down. This could be Rux. Sheep goes down. Rocket catches one. There's the cleanup. Veritas gets a second. Otter's going to drop as well. 3 kills picked up. Brood's trashy, but it's going to be hard to kill that tank. Otter gets crit, though, and holy crap, Veritas gets 3. Dodges a little bit of Kog'Maw damage, but there's the explosion. There's the shutdown, and finally,
give me a fat beat!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spring Challenger Series. Final 5 in NME Esports are gearing up for Game 2 and hoping now to claim a spot in the first place match next week. Of course, NME are leading 1-0 in this best of 3. They are one Nexus kill away, or an NME surrender vote away, from heading to the LAN finals, guaranteeing a spot at least in the promo tournament, potentially an auto seed into the LCS itself. I gotta say, this series probably started the way NME Esports hoped. The Final 5, though, clearly have the chance of making the comeback, though.
Yeah, they do. The way that they were playing that early mid-game with Impaler seemed really good.
Yeah.
But the fact that Trashy had his number with counter ganks around the level 5 and 6 was really good. And he still managed to affect the lanes at level 2 and 3 on that Gragas. So he had to watch for Trashy when you play against NME.
I gotta say, ridiculously impressive early gank phase. I gotta say, Trashy was absolutely great. Played a tank jungler and was like, I'm just gonna level 2 flash body slam you, dude. Like, who even cares? I mean, it is a tank jungler. Like, he played tank Gragas. He bought a Sunfire or Cinder Hulk. He bought Locket afterwards. Got a Righteous Glory. Like, did all the normal tank things. Just said, oh, I don't really like playing the tanks, but played it like a level 2 ganker, like you see Jarvan and Vi and all those kind of champions. Played it aggressively, made it work, and it's what we've seen some players lament about tank junglers is, oh, I have to hit level 6 before I do anything. I have to sit in my jungle and farm, and I can't duel back. Well, Trashy showing us otherwise, obviously, and it was really good to see.
Yeah, it was really nice to see, too, because when I had talked to him, he said that he didn't like tank junglers.
Right.
I guess I asked him as well, and I was like, you didn't like him? And he's like, well, I never will like tank junglers. Doesn't mean he likes playing it.
Okay. But he's going to play him if it's what
he's going
to win. And, I mean, that makes sense. Everyone has their own styles, but what they prefer and what they're good at. And, you know, that is one of the parts of League of Legends is sometimes the champions you like playing have to be stronger at that time, or everyone likes to play those champions so you feel good that you're playing the meta stuff.
That's a big thing about being a pro that people don't always consider.
Yeah.
Is you have to change when the meta changes too a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Because the champion that's your favorite champion may not be good in the meta, may have a hard counter. You want to pick it blue side blind.
True.
There's a lot of things that go into it. So you have to play what is considered a power pick at the time and learn it if you want to be on top of your pro game, even if you don't like that champion.
I know. It's interesting because I'm always the guy who plays devil's advocate in those kind of things where I'm a pretty anti-meta type dude because I'll always go back and I'll say it 700 million times, but the meta game is what everyone else is playing. You can always beat the meta game. That's why the game evolves. People found something better. If you're the guy who finds something better, you're always the winning team. Now, if you're a Malphite main and Rumble's the meta top laner, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, you don't get to play Malphite. It's a horrible matchup. It's going to be miserable for you. Okay, the meta can defeat you sometimes. But, you know, we saw 2 months ago, Victor became the de facto mid laner because people found out that Ken and Victor comps are really freaking strong. And imagine if you found that out in January, right? Like, you just get to accelerate the meta and be the guys in the front. But you're right. Like, these power picks, being able to steal champions away. You saw, for example, Final 5 learn Nidalee to try to steal Inox's Nidalee away because they found it to be a strong champion and contested. These things, of course, do exist where you do obviously have to react to the meta. And sometimes you do want to learn those champions yourself.
Yeah, and making it a contested pick is really big because you don't have to spend a ban on it then. You get to free up more things, and if it is a very powerful champion that you become comfortable on very quickly and bring it out in pro play, so the rate at which you pick up the champion is another big thing too.
Absolutely agree, and that's the thing is people have their own innate styles. I think one of the key examples is a player like Seraph, who is actually, to me, is a really shining example of this. And when he played in the LCS and Counter Logic Gaming, it was pretty lackluster. He was a Nidalee main, a Jace main, a bunch of whole carry top laners, and CLG said, no, we need a Sejuani. Or not a Sejuani, sorry, a Shyvana. Right? We need a tank up in the top lane who's going to play the big, beefy things. And that's not his natural style. And it is hard to unwire 2 to 3 years, maybe even more, of how you like to play League of Legends, break all those tendencies, learn a bunch of new stuff. Like, that's not going to be a clean transition. And we see Seraph in the Challenger Series here, and you could make the case that his competition is weaker, certainly, but he shines, right? He gets to play Lissandra and Aurelia and these big carries, and it's amazing to watch him play. He looks more comfortable. He looks more confident. The plays he makes work really well. His intuitive game sense is suddenly higher because he's used to these scenarios. And you talk about the metagame changing and champion pools changing, and I agree. And sometimes what your team likes to play and what you guys want to play lines up with your innate play style, and you just happen to play better for those couple of months because of it.
Yeah, and another thing about Seraph, though, in that top lane is it became this TP tanky bruiser top lane meta that he was all about I don't want to bring teleport. I still want to ignite you in lane. I want to kill you in lane.
Right.
So then he tries to go back to those champions. Now it's working out for him a little more when the meta is jumbled and up in the air.
Yeah.
I think the Nidalee pick, he has a very different Nidalee than anything else you see.
Absolutely.
It's not exactly either Bruiser Nidalee as well.
It's like AD Nidalee.
It's Trinity Force. He usually goes Blade of the Ruined King in his solo queue games, and then he buys an IE. So he's like 80 carry Nidalee.
Yeah.
And then he just goes as a split-pushing beast. He buys Static Shiv when he lacks the wave clear.
Right.
And then he buys Blade of the Ruined King when he wants to duel and split-push somebody.
Yeah, so sometimes the innovation does work out. And in fact, if you guys missed that semifinal yesterday of sorry, not Final 5, but Fusion against TDK, I especially want to see you guys watch Game 2. That was an absolutely amazing match. And Sarah put that game on
LLesports.com.
Yeah, but we've got a different semifinal in front of us now, guys. Game 2 between Final 5 and NME Esports is here. And the question is, what adaptations are going to happen? Well, Final 5, they drop the Hecarim ban. They add the Nidalee ban. Now, they first picked Nidalee last time. Maybe they first picked Hecarim this time and just keep the same, essentially, 4 champions in that first 4 sets.
Yeah, now they want to... They banned away their own Nidalee, so it means they have something else that they want to first pick here.
Right. You said they dropped the Hecarim ban for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they care enough, they could first pick it, or they go somewhere entirely different.
We don't want to leave it up because Flares stomped them with Hecarim last time they met. So yeah.
So there's the insta-lock. That's Final 5 getting blue team twice in a row. Of course, they chose blue side for Game 2. NME Esports chose red side in Game 1. It's why we're seeing the sides stay the same here in this game as you make your side selections before the series starts. NME Esports happy to take that last pick, though, and they say, okay, well, Flares, whatever you want in the top lane, feel free to beat him with it, because only really the Rumble's gone.
So what do you play into this top lane Hecarim right now? Because, like you said, Rumble, gone. Top lane, Lulu still available. They could do that, slow him down, get the polymorph, make him a little ineffective.
Sure.
But your lane presence isn't that high. Also, the double jungle.
Right. Well, we typically see when we first saw Hecarim show up and became like the de facto top laner in the LCS for like a week, it was the CC ranged laners, because you're seeing oftentimes it's TP Ignite Hecarim, and pre-6 he has no escape tools, so it's actually oftentimes quite easy to gank him. So you can harass him, who's melee only. You can then gank him with crowd control because he has no escape tools, and you play one of these hardcore damage dealing tops and just get an early gank pressure champion. And Rek'Sai unfortunately banned, but something like that could work very easily for NME Esports. They do, as you mentioned, actually, they pick up the Lulu here, a ranged champion, and again they grab Cog, and then again could be Inox or Otter.
That's true. I actually want to touch on the AP Cog from last game, because on the damage dealt, Inox did 66,000 damage to champions. Yeah. 66,000.
That's a lot.
The next highest on his team was Otter, 18,000. The next highest in the game was around 20,000. Like Veritas, or 33,000.
Yeah, he like 30k on Jinx.
30k on Jinx for Veritas. Yeah. Inox did twice the damage of the next highest person on the AP Cog as a poke champion. And also, on his team, he was 3 times more effective
than his AD carry. I mean, that is poke champions, to be fair. Like, that's what you're going to be good at.
You get more damage off, but the fact that he was able to consistently land his ultimate was amazing. And the Luden's Echo is a fantastic pickup on it. Every time you use a Luden's spell with Luden's Echo, it's 20 to the charge. It's not the static Shiv 10. It is 20 to it. Yeah. So all he has to do is run in circles as Kog'Maw and just lob his ultimate, and he will be able to stack that very quickly. Yeah. And the cooldown on it is extremely low. So just spamming that ability and managing his mana is very easy to do, and getting that high amount of damage off is great.
Absolutely, and we saw, of course, that Trashy done a good job of controlling the buffs as well, which meant that they got kind of just routinely repeated blue buffs there onto Inox, and did a great job. Final 5 backs up against the wall. This is their last game to prove they can make it to the finals here. They need to win this one and the next one, and Impaler goes back to that Lee Sin. He's like, you know what? I want to carry this game. Give me Lee Sin. Let's go. Early game aggression. He's going to be good at it.
That's true. The early game aggression from Impaler Lee Sin was something that he started getting really good at really quickly, and he didn't play that champion a whole bunch back when he was in Europe. When he came over to North America, he picked it up, and it was his go-to champion to snowball games and to be a carry.
And it was good overall. Impaler, I think, can do some good things. We'll see if Trashy is able to still out-jungle him like the last game, but there's always a chance that Impaler finally gets those ganks in time, gets there first, and makes those ganks actually stick. Lee Sin, definitely a great early ganker. He's one of the very few players we still see play him, though. As Lee Sin, you talked about meta champions. Becoming less popular, but clearly still something worth mastering if you're good at it. NME Esports continue to lock in a few more supports, though. They've now got Janna as well, and that tank Gragas. No, Nami as well. Interesting. I actually love Nami Cog as a duo lane, though. This gives me a little bit more confidence that actually might be Otter playing it. But Trashy happy to play Gragas again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that now. Because of the Nami pickup, it's going to give him so much lane pressure, so much trading potential, too.
Yeah.
Because every time you go up, you walk up and trade with the Tidecaller's Blessing, you're going to get the ebb and flow afterwards for the heal. So you usually come out on top in damage unless you get burst by, like, a huge chunk.
Yeah, but Sivern, I mean, she can do burst, but only after BF Sword. Like, you can't spell shield Tidecolors. Kog'Maw gets a massive range disparity with W. This is one of my favorite duo lanes in League, and Sivern's especially weak against it. So, Final 5, their work is cut out for them. I just want to see him lane swap and have Hecarim jungle for a while.
Also, another thing, though, that makes me believe that this is going to be a lot on Otter's shoulders is they're drafting and protect the Kog'Maw comp.
Yeah.
It's a Lulu, it's a Nami that's going to give him movement speed from her passive. It's going to give them disengage with the ultimate. And also, Trashy back on the jungle Gragas is going to give them disengage with ultimates and slow zones as well. So a lot of peel here for this Kog'Maw that can make him an absolute beast, and I think Otter's up to the task.
Well, speaking of peel, though, how about the opposite of peel? You've got a Twisted Fate in here for Gate, and a Nautilus picked up, a support Nautilus here for Sheep. So unless you grab Morgana, which by the way got banned, you've got no way to deal with the significant amount of target initiation. Final 5 can ludicrously easily reach this Kog'Maw here. And now the question is, do you pivot? Like, do you change the comments? Like, you know what, never mind, let's grab another good backline threat that you can only pick one, the other one can set up, you know, for the team fights. We've seen that NACS can play that far back that AP Cog would be fine here. You're not going to reach him with more than Twisted Fate. And then Otter just finds something he can play safe with.
NACS.
Play the poke game again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really back and forth here. Like, he should go, like, he could go with something that scales really well and, like, try to just survive the lane phase on Inox in that last. Like, it could be, like, he could go back to AP Cog mid, but I don't think that's what this is going to be. I think that they're actually okay with all the dive on them, that they just want another threat, so that you don't only pay attention to the Kog'Maw, that you have to respect something else.
Well, they have to respect 5.6 Kassadin, and they do. So, Challenger Series, the first league to play on 5.6 here in the pro, semi-pro scene, and Kassadin for Inox. Now, of course, there were the changes a while back that made his jump much shorter. Got increased a little bit. Cooldown went down. And now the stack duration for the increased mana cost and increased damage has been shortened a bit. So, going to see how Inox could bust out new Kassadin.
We actually had this conversation earlier today.
Yeah.
Where I think this champion, new Kassadin or changed Kassadin, is actually extremely powerful and extremely hard to catch.
Absolutely.
And kind of shoots off in power spike a little bit earlier than the previous one because you get more rift walks over time than you did previously. You actually, despite the distance going down, I think it's 200 range now, all said and done. 200, 250.
200 like total nerf from the prior version.
But you will get 2 of those off in the time that you would have gotten 1 previously. So the overall range you travel is higher.
Yeah, it's interesting because
it's more damage. It is more damage because you get more off.
Right, exactly.
So I think this champion is extremely strong. Right
I agree. Like, the actual math on terms of distance per mana is almost identical because of the mana cost reductions. The burst mobility is lower, meaning you have less suppress factor. But as you said, sustainability is high, sustained damage output higher as well from landing the ulti on the people. And if you get a killer assist or you just get the empowered W onto a champion, you restore so much mana back, you guarantee another R, no matter if it's fully stacked or not. So I do agree with you. I think Kassadin can be incredible, especially because I think you're going to rely a lot more on the R for damage. And it's a different combat pattern people aren't necessarily used to.
Yeah, and also you're going to be trying to reach this Kog'Maw who's going to be damaging you from the back lines with so much peel. This Kassadin is going to dive your back line and try to burst down your front line at the same time. So there's a multi-threat team here coming out for NME. But I do want to jump over to what Final 5 have because Gate got his Twisted Fate.
Yes.
He got a champion that he loves to play, but he also hasn't gotten to play very often. They have a very dive-heavy comp. Hecarim, Lee Sin, Sivir with the ultimate to get everybody in there. The Nautilus with point-and-click lockup. 4 CCs, 4 types of CCs. Yeah, exactly. The Sivir ultimate to get everybody in there, but also the Twisted Fate to ulti and get to the backline too. They have a lot of dive, so the question is how much is this dive going to affect that Kog'Maw with so much protection and disengage?
It's going to be interesting to watch, certainly, the very different comps battling back and forth, and you got to see who ends up playing those crazy situations a little bit better, because it's going to be explosive, and one team's going to win those fights pretty quickly. Now, We do have a slight delay. There was an issue loading into the game, so it's being remade with the same picks and bans. We will get ourselves into the game as soon as possible, so please bear with us. I'm going to say about 2.5 minutes till we get ourselves in the game, give or take, maybe a bit more. But we're going to be getting the information back on screen soon enough. When we want to go back into the loading screen, show you the picks and bans maybe one more time at some later point. But back into the game pretty soon. Overall, they're going to keep the same picks and bans, right? It was a remake right off the start. Pretty quick and easy relaunch.
So I talked about how one team is protect the Cogma, disengage. Yeah. The other one is let's engage, kill one person, try to burst them down, and just forward motion. The problem here, though, is the team that wants to engage needs to get a gold lead, or else they can't get to that Cogma and get through the shields. Because if the Lulu, if Flares is able to have a free farm lane, he's able to protect the Cogma a little bit too much for this team to handle if they're behind. So both these teams, whichever one gets a lead, can snowball it fairly easily in team fights.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much dive potential on one side and so much siege potential on the other, and even split push power too with Kassadin. I think one thing that really does matter to me a lot here is how many items Gate gets. Hecarim gets 1 damage item. You finish Trinity Force, and you really don't increase your damage profile anymore. Levels barely matter. You're gonna buy some tank items. The CDR on your Q barely matters. So that's the limit of the burst. Lee Sin is gonna get the Warrior enchant, build tank. He's going to damage spike really early on. That's it. Nautilus never builds damage items. He's not going to go up in damage either. There's just baseline of damage is going to be reach and then never improve except for TF, right? Maybe Luden Zeko, maybe Lichbane, maybe a Void Staff. What items will he have? That's a question. And they have to have enough damage that, as you mentioned, breaks through all the shields. Nami can heal. Nami can exhaust one of these guys, by the way. She brought exhaust into this game. Lulu, solo lane Lulu, has a lot of shields and health to give as well. So it's going to be pretty contentious. Is the damage high enough?
I'm not 100% sold on it, but it really depends on what Rux does as this Hecarim. If Hecarim starts snowballing that top lane and affecting the entire map and gets away with having that ignite to stop the heals coming in, then Otter could just get dropped very quickly.
Yeah.
We've seen Hecarims run away with games very quickly and have a huge amount of burst damage.
Absolutely agree. We'll see if we can get away with this game or not. Gate is chilling in the mid lane against NACS. We gotta see how this matchup will play out. It's a matchup I think we typically considered in Kassadin's advantage, just because he has kill pressure on TF. It's just kind of a general setting of League of Legends, at least back in the day with old Kassadin. But of course, kill pressure exists with TF gold cards plus Lee Sin existing. Final 5. Look to play a bit of an engage, or a bit of an invade. Of course, they know they got warded on the way through, but the 3-man invade team will be fine here. A deep ward onto the Krugs to spot with a jungle start from NME Esports. And looks like they will be safe. All right, so deep ward for Final 5 that will track jungle starts. No such luxury for NME Esports. We will have matched lanes.
I think Otter might have gotten jealous of the damage that Inox did last game. Took his Kog'Maw away from him. Said, you did three, almost 4 times the damage I did. It's time to swap. It's time to get my time in the limelight.
Get his own carry pants here. So Final 5. They start Krugs. I like this a lot. And in fact, with Hecarim jungling over the Wolves, he's actually soloing them. Enemy has no knowledge of what the actual land assignments are of Final 5. Again, these guys got no deep wards down at all.
Now, both lanes not showing, but they are going to show up with an experience advantage both top and bottom.
Yeah. And poor Impaler, by the way, he gets no leash whatsoever, and half his jungle's already gone. The only camps left are Red Buff and Raptors. That's all he gets.
Get some of the harder camps, too.
Yeah.
He's gone through both of his potions. He'll be fine, though. He's Lee Sin. He'll get his level 2. And he'll be able to clear this. Some of those are a little easier. He'll have his smite up for red, so he'll get HP back. So his jungle clear is fine, but Trashy immediately goes towards Scuddler to protect his bottom lane.
Interesting. And actually, speaking of protecting their lane, though, Rux, he bought a green ward and a couple of extra potions on his trip back to base, so he's actually safe until about 5.5 minutes. And I don't know if Flares actually saw that ward get put down. Trashy taking a bit of a longer jungle route because of the Scuttle grab pickup. Lee Sin could still lane gank potentially, except for the fact that there was a ward on Tribrush that got put down by Body Drop.
He's a little bit lower in HP, though. He's on the mid side right now.
Yeah.
Ganking, though, he'd have to land all his skill shots. But he goes to clear the Raptor camp, and that's going to put him a little bit under.
Lands on Honor, though. Good early trade. The Q missed, though. Hit body drop instead. Veritas will not get a lot of extra damage out here. And until the man gets Spell Shield as well, it's kind of easy to poke him out. Body drop here again. Going to find a nice trade. Bubble. Doesn't guess it right, though. Body drop.
They can go in on him now.
They don't want it, though. Just a bit of damage. Okay, there's the Q. Waiting for cooldowns. But they're not chasing too hard. No all-ins.
Sheep still has his hook available. Sheep was a really big Thresh player. We saw his Thresh last game. He had some good hooks that got Final 5 an advantage in the mid game. Now he's on another hook-based champion with a little bit more CC than Thresh. So when these team fights come out, his itemization towards, I assume it's going to be a Righteous Glory to help this team get even further into the backline and deal with the Kog'Maw, is going to allow him to get more CC off over time. So I want to see how he plays it, and if they just start hitting people like Nami, possibly blowing her up and trying to sustain through the Kog'Maw, because this Nautilus does get tanky very quickly.
He does, and that's going to be very tough to deal with, although I suppose NME Esports has some tank busting with the really big Kog'Maw if he stays safe. It's the right champion to break down this sort of 3 melee beef lineup.
But he can only do so much.
Of course.
He only attack one person
Can't
at a
kill
time.
everyone. Hurricane.
Runans. Yeah.
Hurricane Kog'Maw. Come on, just pretend you're Callista. No big deal, right?
I've seen some Kog'Maws do that.
I tried it, didn't like it very much. One thing to note, though, is I want to see what the sustained damage of Inox really is here, because he's the only real damage dealer there. Gragas going to build tank. Flare's just not going to do a lot of damage on Nami. So weight on 2 people's shoulders, but they're the 2 best performing members, at least score-wise, of NME Esports. So pretty good hands. Trashy will not find himself a counter gank in the mid lane. Nothing doing from Gate. Again, the hook's going to land. Good bit of damage there. Pops the E, then goes for the auto attack to Root, and Otter takes a lot of damage for this one. But they push back on a Sheep who's down to 200 himself. Top lane fight comes in. Rux hits the wrong target. He knocks back a minion and not Flares. That'll be nothing picked up there. I don't think they chase for any more kills, but... Oh, wow, Otter. Dodge that better.
He gets a heal from Body Drop, though, and now Veritas is out of mana.
So is Body Drop. There's no consumables left in this lane whatsoever.
Everybody's trading. Final 5 are actually taking a little bit worse for wear on these trades in terms of HP bars.
Flare will be the first one to TP back in with triple Doran's Ring.
Oof. He's playing for the lane phase.
Certainly is. And I mean, heck, if you can hold down Hecarim, his key power is the early game, and if you deny that...
Coming back with the bling, and that'll do just that for him, too.
It's true. Clearly, we're not in the Diablo universe. You can only use 2 rings in most... actually, pretty much any RPG universe, to be honest.
There's some where you can have a ring on each finger.
Really?
Yeah.
I see that so rarely. That's the exception, you know?
It's called accessorizing. You can do it. So, some I see you can put 2 on each hand.
Really? That just feels weird.
I don't know why they would do that.
4 rings, a lot of rings. The flash gold card comes in. They end the Q into Enoch, but he flashed the way safely. The jump in by Impaler jumps out, and Trashy's gonna trade one back. First blood, though, all the same. Advantage Final 5.
They also get to have Gate continue to push this mid lane out.
Yeah.
And they deny some CS from Inox.
Exactly, yeah. More gold overall, 100 bonus to the jungler, 50 bonus to the mid laner. More time in lane, a lot of good things overall. Final 5, signs of life definitely here.
Yeah, now Trashy's going to have to pick up this wave for his mid laner. But that means that closes that gap a little bit between Gate and Inox.
Wow, Rock's just still trading in. Triple Doran's Ring Flare still pushed into his own turret. Wave clear safely, though. Equal CS, 49 to 48. Basically the same as they both recall once. Looks like Spectre's Cowl first for Rux is the order of the day. Just to survive this matchup once again. I mean, it's a very magic damage heavy team composition. NME Esports. Even Kog'Maw is actually oftentimes more magic than physical on his damage profile. Just depends on the amount of poke he puts down.
It's a really defensive build from a Hecarim. Usually you'll see, if it's a matchup like this, Merc treads first.
Just try to hit the guy.
It gives you defense and offense, and then you can get home guards very early. Look at this, he's got the kickback.
Board hop, great kick, body up, forced to flash away, has to heal himself. Summoner heal used as well.
A lot of damage there, a lot of summoner spells blown from that bottom lane in exchange for none.
That was
Final 5.
So good by Impaler. That was incredibly clean. Very, very impressive here. Flares, though, still pushing around Rux, and you can see life getting hard for the Death Pony. It's going to be okay. Flares can't get this kill, I don't think, but teleport is down for Rux, and it's actually going to be a freeze. Flares should freeze this.
Nope.
Okay, he's going to shove it and just re-recall? If he wants to match recalls, then I understand shoving. But only, like, here's the thing. If there wasn't an item breakpoint to reach, although he's actually right at Fiendish Codex money, which is, you know, 820, you could let it freeze, immediate recall, come back to lane, and you just, like, deny it a wave and didn't lose any minions yourself. But he wants turret pressure. He can maybe clear one more wave, and then... This is so weird. Is Flares going to recall now?
It's a little late.
That's really weird. Now he's actually going to miss golden XP if he does so.
Oh, knockback.
Wow, what a good knockback. The Q barrel misses, but who cares? Gate's going to fall for this one. An amazing gank by Trashy once again. And Inox gets back into this one.
Yeah, body slam flashes, but just to get in range for that extra barrel explosive cask. Rux does come back with the Merc Treads, though, in top lane. So he does go for those early things.
Okay.
Wasn't going for the Spectre's Cowl.
Just Ruby Crystal to have it because he's going to get that item. I guess,
For
yeah,
Phage.
you're right. It's part of Triforce, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that at all. Rux, though, still trying to trade back. And of course, you have to. In a matchup like this, you have to take some fights, and you have to choose them so wisely. Trashy off the mid lane gank, goes for the blue buff steal. Impaler's aware of this, but he's walking through wards doing. Ulti in from TF. Will they find the fight they want? Trashy gets out. In comes Twisted
boy.
Fate, and Rux is on the wrong side of the
Red
foot.
card.
Red card picked up. He's going to get ejected out of his own jungle for that one. Trashy, though, still in the side of this trade, but the kick puts him over the wall. Ignite, and Rux gets the kill, and a blue buff. Inox, oh, barely out of the Q range of Lee Sin. Impaler could have gotten more.
They trade 1 for nothing, though, and they get to shove this mid wave because Inox has to back right now. Gate brings out the wave clear, and now they can get some substantial damage on this turret.
Wow, what a good turn of events there. Rux making his way down in time. Very impressive.
Bot lane's been shoved out, too.
Yeah, this dual lane's going pretty well. Just a push lead.
We haven't checked on it in a while.
Well, here's the thing is these champions get really different recall timings. Veritas managed to not get harassed enough to deny the BF sword recall. And Otter sitting on like Sheen and part of a Phage is just not very powerful in itself. And it allows Final Fly for a really good push lead, and they go for the turret kill, and then they want to balance the wave. So very impressive stuff.
That actually looks like it's going to bounce pretty effectively. It's going to take them another wave, but it'll end up pushing back, and it depends on if Otter lasts.
Oh my god, Rux, pops the ult from Flares.
Yeah, Rux doesn't have his Ignite or his ultimate. He used them to get that previous kill, but you can see the amount of pressure this Hecarim top is bringing out now.
This is what I was worried about with Flares. When you saw him do that top lane push, his opponent recalled. Rux got items, and Flares stayed with low mana and not buying anything. Only gets cooldown boots and wards in this recall. That's like barely combat stats at all. I'm a little bit worried for Flares here.
It's utility stats.
It is.
Point. I mean, cooldown is a combat stat, so.
Yeah, I mean, it matters some.
But the big thing here for me is I like the build path, build order from Rux. He would have died if he didn't have Null Magic Mantle, Ruby Crystal.
Yeah.
He was pushed under his turret. He was very close. He was 1 Glitter Lance away from dying. But also, if he didn't have that Null Magic Mantle, he would have taken substantially more damage.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and even if it's like, oh, he went Null Magic Mantle boots, he wouldn't have had that Ruby Crystal for the HP to survive.
Yeah.
If he had gone Ruby Crystal Longsword, he wouldn't have had the Null Magic Mantle. So that buy actually saved him.
Yeah, I mean, if he went boots, I mean, maybe like he has the ability to disengage a bit better. But either way, it obviously did work out for Rux. Props to him. He's got, of course, Home Guard on his Merc Treads as well, so his ability to recall and get back to lane is very high. His ability to, of course, make amazing TP ganks is even better. And Flares is, you know, he's going to be utility for the team, but I don't know how much he's going to get accomplished for his team.
And that's one of the lovely things about Hecarim top is once you get those Home Guards and you rush them, it means that you almost never use your TP to get back to lane. You just recall, run straight towards that lane.
Press E and walk, and you're going to be just fine.
And so you get to save it for those engages, for those flanks, for those TP rush-ins with Home Guard.
Well, speaking of flanks and rushing in, Body Drop actually switches himself to the top lane here. Looks like NME Esports want to get out of that lane. So much pressure from this Sivir, and they want to hold down Rux right now.
I'm surprised that Veritas didn't leave his lane and go start shoving mid or top, because they got that bottom turret. Drag is no longer on the field. They picked it up, and so he's just free-farming this bot lane.
I mean, their goal was denying COG, right? NME Esports rely on Otter. The turret went down. Instead of pushing, they tried to freeze the lane, saying, I dare you to walk back here. We have a Nautilus ultimate. I dare you, NME Esports. And NME Esports didn't dare. They lane swapped, and Final Five's going to do the same thing. Look, there comes Sivir. She wants to fight Otter's Kog'Maw. and try to hold the key of NME Esports down.
Oh, especially with this advantage that he has, because it's a composition that's made around the Kog'Maw, and you could chase him down with the Sivir ultimate, with the point-and-click Nautilus ultimate. You're up 20 CS, BF, pickaxe, boots completed, to parts of phage, boots not completed, and Ashin. Big power difference here. This Sivir will chunk the crap out of this Kog'Maw.
And Paler sneaks in for the lane gank. Hook, wow, is going to hit
There's
Otter,
the
and there's the engage. More knockups come through. There's the Q. Otter's got nowhere to go. Gate even arrives, and Sheep holds Zachary. He's got to get out, though. This is his last hit on the turret. E comes through. Body drop certain to die here. Does not have flash. Kill picked up. Actually, wow, the trade kill from the Cog passive does manage to kill Sheep, but worth it. And top lane can go down to the turret.
Did Veritas heal late? It looked like he healed late there. Didn't get the heal on Sheep.
Yeah, I think he might have been ignited as well to deny how much that did. No, wait, sorry, because it was just exhaust. Yeah, there's no ignite in the lane. Yeah, you're right.
I think he healed late just for movement speed. When
you're right.
When body drop looked like he was about to get away. So Veritas not really in range to heal Sheep, or didn't even try at that point.
No, unfortunate there. Mid lane Outer, though, does get killed. Trashy comes mid lane to help Inox, who stayed. But Veritas will make this a 2-turret kill game for him. Pretty happy things overall. Final 5 looking very good in game 2.
And I like the strategy of camping the part of the team composition you don't want to get off the ground.
You know what's funny? They played this exact matchup last week, except it was Final 5 playing the Kog'Maw, and guess what? Their lane got dumpstered by NME Esports, and the Kog'Maw never got off the ground. Switch compositions, Final 5, dumpster the Kog'Maw, doesn't get off the ground.
Yeah, they got that top turret too, so both turrets down. Now where do they... Oh, invade here!
They don't get the knock back, but you know it's going to be enough damage all the same. Gate might try to re-engage. Sheep is around. No depth charge.
Rux on the side, though.
Just the 1 for 0. Nicely done by NME Esports.
Yeah, Trashy and Inox, that combination, the two highest KDA members next to Otter on this roster, just everybody has amazing score lines. Just the fact that these guys synergize so well and have that mid-jungle synergy is extremely scary, because no other team seems to be able to match that.
And right now, the NME Esports jungle mid duo both hold a 75% kill participation in this game. Veritas, well, look at this. They're playing the long game. He's building a freeze. 15.5 minutes in, trying to build a freeze to continue to deny gold and experience in the enemy team. They realize mid lane Outer not easily killed. They're playing the long game, denying as much gold as they can. Now they broke the freeze.
Nope.
Never mind. Immediately breaks that. Whatever. Clear wave in. But I want to see then, what does Final 5 do with the lead? They are ahead. Cog has to still scale up. Triforce in, I still don't think is enough for them to feel good about this. I feel like Final 5 still has free reign over the map. I want to see what this team does with the lead. They get it pretty rarely against teams this good. So this is the test. Final 5, how good are you? What can you do with this advantage?
Right now it just seems keep Otter down. Inox is turning online, though. He's got that 30 CS advantage over Gate, and him synergizing with Trashy and roaming around is going to be very scary. So you have to look at Rux and Veritas and what they do here from Final 5, and how Impaler gets his kickbacks on that Lee Sin. Because Gate is not going to be the one starting these fights. He's going to be coming into the fights a little late. He lost his turret, so he has to play a little further back.
Yeah.
But he's going to show up to these fights when they start.
And you can see, like, you talk about the fact that he's going to be showing up second. You can see it in his build.
Yeah.
He's building high CDR, so he can always show up when he wants. He does Zhonya's late. It might not even be a Zhonya's off that NL Rod. So he can't go in first, not till Zhonya's is done. And he's just waiting for, like, if something happens, I will be there. I will promise that I will be there, and I can wave clear until that happens. That does give a free lane to Cassidy, though. He's not really getting pressured. TF's not opening a lot of plays himself. And that just lets Inox farm and farm and farm and farm, and unsurprisingly, he's ahead in CS like he always is.
I really want to see what this Twisted Fate builds. I want to see what Gate ends up building, because you want every death cap item. Or sorry, item.
Yeah, you want all three.
Because Luden's Echo, Twisted Fate loves movement speed.
You can debate Luden's Echo versus Lichbane. I actually think on TF, Lichbane's better. Because that item just does more damage. Because you're going to auto-attack them.
Yeah.
Right? You just get more damage from a Lichbane than you get from a Luden's. You both give move speed. They both give similar amounts of ability power.
Why not both?
I don't think there's room. You need a Void Staff, you need a Zone Use, you need a Death Cap. There's no room after that.
Why not both?
If you sell boots, maybe. But even then, I think Magic Band's the right choice. Either way, though, Dragon number 2 attempted here by Final 5. And that's what they've chosen with their map control. They played the slower game. They got the Dragon. Flares is getting side lane farm, but that hardly matters. Lulu just does not scale very hard. And he's now being beset by this Hecarim. Enemy Esports can't even get their dual lane, their Kog'Maw, to go into safe lanes. Once again, the lane he goes to hides all the way back at tier 2 turret. He knows he can just die to TF out of nowhere. There's so little vision that they can't even keep Otter safe right now. Enemy Esports, it's a test for them. How do they play from behind here? They're so rarely behind. And even though the gold went back to equal, I think there's a lot of gold waiting to be picked up around the map as waves get pushed back in. Yeah. Items get picked up. It is Zhonya's second.
Looks like it is. Just so he can get to that back line and have a fear of diving Otter as they reach the team fight phase and everybody starts grouping up. This bottom lane, though, is getting shoved out, and they're going to need this answer. Because Veritas is now, they're once again funneling farm into him. He's in this mid lane up against NACS.
Okay, Nautilus around the wing. Sivir is going to roam down. They give up pressure on mid lane, though. Sivir walks back. She had a small window to try to pressure, went for Raptors, and didn't find a gank. Mid lane will have to be re-cleared one more time. Blue buff response for Enemy Esports. They grab that for themselves, and Veritas. It's interesting how Final Five's comp works because pretty much pick any three and they can engage and probably kill their target. Veritas could be part of it, Gate could be part of it, Rux could be part of it. Kind of pick any. And you got yourselves a team fight. She's gonna look for Otter.
Oh. Didn't get the ulti off there. Oh,
Body slam and a ton of burst. Gate can't do a single thing. Trashy explodes the poor fool.
The immediate reaction there from Otter, but they're going to keep going after him. He has so much protection, though.
But a big Lulu ulti. The ulti still comes across for the stuns. Ignite is on. They get the damage out, but there's no one left to knock down Rux, and Veritas walks in to get some mana back. They finally trade the kill.
Sheep not ulting right off the bat got Gate killed because the flash back from Otter was able to just get more distance. He went for the hook and didn't get it.
Hooks in, lands on a minion, but the mid lane outer turret will go down. 3 turrets to 2 in this one, final 5. Though they're killing Otter, every time he dies, he actually gets a kill back for it. They're keeping him off the map for XP, but he's still getting 300 gold for these dives. Still keeping up in items. Ruin King is actually not that far away from the Kog'Maw. And he's surprisingly not being held down that much because the dives aren't as clean as they need to be.
It's going to be a problem, though, because he's still getting that gold.
Exactly.
He's still getting that gold, and that's what you need is the Kog'Maw to operate. Oh. Doesn't get it, and Otter immediately flash heals backwards to put a lot of distance between himself. And then Trashy is already there for the counter gank. Putting Gate right into the turret.
They ping back, but it's too late. Roar!
Yeah, and Otter doesn't have his flash or his heal at this point because he initially used it to disengage.
Yep. That's the problem of being a Kog'Maw. And again, with Morgana getting banned away every single game, you don't have safety from enough damage, right? If that much damage does come through, the shields aren't enough for you, and you can't get away with flash down. I want to know when Otter gets distortion boots. I think he needs them at some point this game to get away from Hecarim ults.
I was thinking about that play over again. And it would have been a trade in either scenario, because if it had been Sheep's ulti immediately, he would have gotten flash and heal, and then they could have disengaged it. When he threw the hook, they got flash and heal, and the ultimate from Gate was already coming in. He was already in the position where he could be exploited. Look at this. Speaking of coming in on Gate.
Goodbye, body drop. Gate hops in. The flash is early. Knock him into the wall, and Gate survives with red buff on him. And the minions are not going to take him down. Gate stays alive, and the engage still coming through. 2 kills picked up, and final 5 are on the hunt. Inox knocked around, but he can rift walk away. Rux, 1 hit from dead. Ignite is on him. He tries to heal off the minions, but it's not enough. A shutdown comes in, making it a 2-for-1 overall, but the re-engage. Otter gets hooked, but Sheep is going to die for that. And now how much more can Inox do? He can force Impaler's flash. Veritas misses the boomerang blade wide. Field goal for him, 3 points. And the top lane turret goes down.
Still have Otter on the chase, though, and he has a movement speed increase on him.
Extra keeps Impaler safe. Veritas should survive this. And he does so. Enemy Esports make it a 2-for-2.
Back and forth. Enemy Esports get one of their first gold leads of the game, taking that top turret. It's very small. It's very minuscule. But they still get it for themselves. Off of the back of having this just engaged team fight from Final 5 that they capitalize off of by disengaging.
Taylor wants this. TP comes in. It's home guard TP. Good luck getting away from this one. Rux wants flares. He might get flares, but the Glitter Lance comes across in time. What a flash by flares.
He flashes out of vision, too.
Yeah.
So you can't continue by clicking on him and getting that E extra range
Glitter Lance and Force Pulse just ruined his day. That was really nice.
The combined slows. Ooh, he gets a flash for his TP, though. At the end of the day, that's the trade that goes down there, and they lack pressure from that TP now.
Yeah, but the question is, it's not like they're equal summoners. TP Hecarim is a free team fight. Flash and Flares doesn't matter.
Yeah. He's not going to be a focus either. He's just going to be in the back line.
You know, happenstance kill.
It's a Luden's Echo on him first.
And that's cool. It gives him a damage profile. Like, I think that's fine. It's low CDR, so the repeated shields aren't there, but it's burst durability you care about, so I actually can't really argue with that build coming out.
I think it's good.
You talked about the gold lead earlier as well for NME Esports. What's important is where that gold lead went, because it was a kill and an assist for Otter in that team fight, meaning he's continuing to power up for these battles. Final Five are trying to hold Otter down, but as before, he keeps getting at least a kill every time those fights do happen.
They're trying to camp this bush. Pinkward in there.
Well, it's Dragon 3, which actually helps Rux quite a bit and gives Final Five rotational play.
Whoa.
8 ulti comes in. They don't catch flares off it, though.
Really?
Thing is, these guys could pressure mid.
They're reaching. They're overreaching here on Final Five's side. They're trying to make something happen.
These guys could pressure mid.
The TP, the ultimate from Twisted Fate.
They're going to give Dragon, but mid lane tier 2 could take a lot of damage. Why? Oh, nice try by Impaler, but all he does is die for it. He's going to die. Yeah, he does. There's a kill, and it again goes to Otter. Mid lane gets pressured, but it feels like a miscommunication. They're going to have to ult away from this one. The team should stay safe. Actually, no, I actually can defend that by Impaler. It's you're guaranteed to die, but a 50 on Dragon's not too bad. Now the question is, though, how much is picked up on the backside? Mid lane not completely cleared, which means NME Esports can keep pressing in their 5v4.
Yeah, it's once again back down to wave pressure. The game is even in terms of gold. More turrets can be taken by NME, though, because they only have 3 to the 4. This one is looking very tasty and in their sights. Don't know if they have the damage to take it before anybody gets there, though, so they're going to overextend for it.
They're going to try. They fear in Otter. He gets healed. He gets knocked up as well, and Sheep's in the front line, but is there the damage up? But their jungler is still missing for now, and the burst poke coming out. Oh my god, though. The Ignite is on. The stuns hit, and Inox forced to run away. Very low on health, but there are no further engage tools. Gates ult still down.
Enemy actually spikes so early in this game with damage. They hit that mid game, and the fact that they picked up 2 Luden's Echoes, first completed item on Lulu, and second completed item on Kassadin, that's a huge spike in your damage. This is not just your standard protect the Kog'Maw comp because of these items and the introduction of Luden's Echo.
Yeah, they managed to spike the other guys early. I really got to say, it's very impressive. And you talked about how Luden's was good on Kog'Maw. It's good on Cass for the same reason. Runs around a lot, low cooldown spells. I like this.
I imagine he actually gets a lot out of, because the way that Luden's Echo works is you gain casts upon moving or casting, or
blinks
stacks. Blinks kind of count towards the distance that you travel.
Okay. So yeah, you're getting, what, 35 stacks maybe
Every time
40
you
off
are.
of Kassadin R? 2 Riftwalks of Luden's Echo,
And it's
basically.
a lower cooldown now?
Right. I mean, again, 2 Riftwalks of Luden's Echo charge, basically. That's pretty scary. Inox going to look pretty good in these team fights. Might be going for Void Staff or Death Cap next. Either one will give him a huge increase in damage. And Otter, 4, 2, and 1. He got the kill from the Dragon Steal attempt. So NME Esports have the gold on the right people. And that's scary because this Cog not getting held down.
No, this Cog is not getting held down. He's been sacrificing himself, but he's also been using his passive to get some damage.
Yep.
But not so much anymore, because the threats are coming up. The threats are showing themselves on enemy side. Final Five do have a gold advantage, though, that's come from this extra turret take. That's come from some good wave management. They aren't falling behind and falling into that same trap as last game.
Yeah, and you are seeing a little bit of damage come out from these other members. You can see the Hex Ranker was bought by Impaler to try to spike his damage a little bit higher. But Gate 1 cooldown boots, not Sork Shoes, so his damage actually is comparatively lower than you might have expected from a mid lane TF. And you know, these are things that are very relevant because the game hinges on whether or not Otter dies in team fights.
They're looking for the flanks here. They're looking to see if they can get Rux around, and that they can also get a nice flank from Gate with his ultimate.
Well, Gate's sent to the top lane. Split push, gonna be pretty strong.
Righteous Glory is completed for Sheep. Veritas has his ultimate. They have ways to get into this fight, but once they get in, there's a lot of damage from enemy. They have to be swift and fast on Final Five side and get priority targets down. And sometimes they might even have to go for something squishy first. Yeah. They might have to be like, all right, let's just get flares off the field. Let's just get Nami off the field. Let's get body drop out of there So they don't have the heals, they don't have the disengage, and then they get the Kog'Maw afterwards. Because they do have some good sustained damage.
They do. They do have some good sustained damage, and that is going to be something to watch for here. They pretty heavily fed Sivir, will be useful, and the max CDR TF can get some good damage down. The problem is, you look at the split push attempts. Okay, Ruck's going to do pretty well at that one. He's hard to kill. TF can try, but that casted and pick from Inox is kind of like the natural predator of Twisted Fate, so good luck getting around on this one. Rux has to respect Flares at least a little bit. Triforce and most of Spirit Visage done for the guy will make him, I think, pretty strong in the battle, but Flares just continuing to stack ability power items. Death Cap is next.
He doesn't know that he's there. Rux is about to have Ignite. He's waiting on that. Ignite up now.
Minion comes in and spots them, and Rux doesn't want to fight.
Jumps up.
No. Lee Sin spotted on the way over as well. I'm on the way, ping sent by NME Esports. Looks like Gragas wants to do a bit of something about this.
The most helpful minion of the game so far. Sometimes they sometimes they get you vision and chase somebody all throughout the jungle. Sometimes they check a bush for you randomly.
Hey man, the minion wave stacked up at the right spot. It's gonna do good things for you. All right, so Flares, Luden's Echo into Death Caps on Lulu. He's 200 gold away from the combine on that. That'll be nice for him. Let's see what else we got going on here. Veritas, again, just playing the wave clear game. And the thing is, pushing is actually not easy for enemy esports. Kog'Maw without flash can't reliably hit turrets in front of the enemy team because you can engage on that guy. And Sivir has good enough wave clear that the holding pattern for Final 5 is pretty easy. It's a battle over vision right now, 40 seconds on Dragon.
Well, you talked about how easy it is to catch the Kog'Maw, but he got a QSS for himself. Look at this, they're collapsing around gate. He's about to get blown up.
And yep, there's the kill picked up. Nice play by Flares and Inox together. Natural Predators we talked about. Now Flares stays alive with the ulti and Rux forced to get out, but he's one hit from dead. Barrel comes in, double kill for Inox. Impaler with a nice kick on back, but Inox can just hop right back away. Level 15 on Kassadin. Impaler the next target. Oh, the knockup on Otter, but he does not have turret aggro. It's Flares, actually, which means enemy esports a bit safe. Trashy walking away and stays alive on this tank Gragas. 2 for 0.
2 for 0 on that one. Flares, that Luden's Echo, you saw the amount of damage he did there with a Help Pick Glitterlance, half of Gate's HP. Gate was not expecting that type of damage.
Poor Gate doesn't have a whole lot of durability on himself, and it's just easy to knock him around. And now, Dragon attempt number 2 for enemy esports. They have now tied up the gold game once again, and they've tied the Dragon game as well. Turret destruction now, the buff in play. Otter can play Siege a little bit better now.
And with that QSS, it's going to stop him from getting caught. The Twisted Fate jumping onto him, he'll immediately cleanse a gold card. He can get out of the Nautilus route and a lot of his CCs. Look at this, they're going after Flares again. You saw the damage he did last time, but they're going to try to poke him out first.
Yeah, he's gone. Flash comes in, auto attack, one more Gate. Oh my god, has to flash for it. That's actually pretty darn good by Flares, but there's still some time for Final 5 to make moves. They're missing a topping, that's a big deal. Trashy off on the wings. Good wards by him as well to spot Final 5 rooting around the map.
This gives them a lot of pressure though. Gate, oh!
Wow, the damage up over the hook lands on Inox. Be careful though, because Gate can die, and Trashy looking for some barrels. Knocks around on Veritas. Body drop though, a bit isolated, and Veritas wants this kill. Flashes 2 auto seal the deal, and it's 20 seconds now with Flares dead, and Otter forced to flash away as well, but Rux loses health for this one. Inox is very scary on this Kassadin.
Yeah. That's a huge Kassadin at this point. He made it through laning phase with a CS advantage.
That's incredibly impressive. In Final 5, all they get is 2 kills, and it's not a kill on Otter. He's not beset really whatsoever on this one. He's not held down. Enemy Esports regain map control with a dead support. We said Kassadin would be good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, Kassadin is really strong. You can see how much mobility he still has in these fights. People were saying, you know, he's got a Rift Step. No. No.
Good enough. More like a Rift Stomp, just destroys people. Gate really needs an Abyssal Scepter. And he should have bought that one, probably second or third item.
Yeah.
Because he needs to survive. Like, it's a essentially 5x AP comp by enemy esports. Cog does some physical. He's going to have some eventually, but he went for a QSS here, meaning he's delaying the physical damage a little bit more here. You need an Abyssal Scepter on the big AP mage in the mid lane that's getting hit up by this Kassadin. And Gate, you can just see how much he's getting preyed upon by the Aurelia Kassadin combo.
I don't know how much I like the Warmogs on Impaler. You're going to take percent HP damage anyway,
Yeah, true.
and people need to lock
W.
it. People need to lock it on your team.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, Sheep could have gone for that one, but wanted the Righteous Glory. I can't say it's a bad choice. He just wanted the engage power.
He might be going for it himself now, but
They've each got components.
it just seems a little late because those mid-game spikes of double Ludens.
Yeah, that was really clever. The double Ludens really helped NME Esports so much to actually hold up in the mid game and give themselves a bit more breathing room, and it was really impressive.
It's not a protect the Kog'Maw right now.
Inox going to carry you.
It's exactly. It's a triple threat actually, because this Lulu
bit,
does
yeah.
a lot of damage. The amount of utility he has on top of it, because he didn't go for Sork shoes, he went for the cooldown reduction boots, kind of covers the fact that he doesn't go Athenes, he doesn't go Morella Nomicon, and gets that early Ludens.
Yeah, he's got 20% CDR, which is moderate. Right? It's not too bad, but he's got no magic pen.
Yeah, which I don't think is a big deal at this moment.
Yeah.
I think the fact, I would be more happy with 15% CDR and 2 AP items than I would 2 AP items and Sork shoes on Lulu.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to kill people, Sork Shoes is still more damage, but being a supportive top laner, I mean, ability power and cooldown, the literally only 2 stats you care about. Nice pickup by Final 5. Sivir ulti's still up. Gate uses Destiny, and they realize, hey, no one's anywhere near Rux. He's getting free 10 of split push top lane. Nothing that NME Esports can do about this just yet. Good rotations by Final 5. They are still staying in this game, and in fact, they're still holding a gold lead. We keep talking about Inox and Otter and how they're crushing, but Final 5 is doing a great job of playing rotations.
Veritas is doing a really good job of leading this team around and getting the damage off in team fights that he needs to get off. Rux is applying pressure with the split push. And here's the thing is, if you're split pushing against this is a team that wants to be grouped up. They want to protect the Kog'Maw.
NME Esports unwilling to try for a Baron attempt. I can't really blame them. It'd be pretty freaking risky. They were around and chose not to. Inox playing wave clear, but you can see he kind of wants to keep getting back to base and keep buying things up. He's not willing to split for too terribly long. The playmaking potential of the Home Guard TP Hecarim and the Twisted Fate ulti on a low cooldown with a max CDR build is going to keep NME Esports playing honest. And so what Gate is losing in damage by not going Sork Shoes, he is certainly gaining in map pressure by stacking ability power, crushing minions down. But he can never take a one-on-one fight.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be a big problem for them. Right now, though, I want to see how the strategy of trying to split the team up works.
Yeah.
The fact that they have that Hecarim top. Can Rux just continue to split push?
I think that's the goal. They are just trying to split these guys up. Even they even got an upgraded blue trinket on Veritas just to spot things out more. Just to add more vision. Double sight stone. Upgraded blue trinket. Ward dropper for Rux. Max CDR TF ulti. He's level 16 now, so that is a 73-second cooldown. I guess he's missing a little bit. 1 mastery point, so that'd be 72 otherwise. Basically the same.
Yeah. Not Gate's best game just yet. He's 30 CS down. He has playmaking potential, though, with the Zonias.
Yeah.
He can get into the back line, cause them to collapse, and then Hecarim can capitalize on that. But Rux needs to be in position to do so. Right now, he's just funneling minions into that top lane. And now he's trying to flank. They're going to flank this. Flares are going to have to TP in if they actually get this play off. But they saw Rux come down from top.
That TP would have taken him 4 seconds, and it turns out Final 5 not wanting to risk their game on that. Of course, this is a survival match for Final 5. It is a best of 3. They're down 0-1. NME Esports, they win this game. They are in the Challenger Finals. They're relying heavily on Otter and Inox to carry them in this game. So far, so good for those guys. Final 5 trying to play split push. That's going to give map control away to NME Esports, though, as they had to control the bot lane wave. Impaler will try for the steal.
He's going to try it again.
Not going to get it.
Oh.
Hops out safely.
They were daring him to try it that time. Trashy didn't get the smite either. Impaler smites it early. Look at this. They're going after flares in the top lane.
And you go for Dragon.
Oh,
you go
so
for your Dragon Tamer Lulu, and Rock's going to take him down. Hecarim preying on the low durability champions.
Here comes the entire comp. Rux has to run past this turret. It's such a low cooldown Rift Walk, though. If he wanted to, he could catch.
The flash in. Wow! Down goes Veritas. They trade back to the AD carry. A solo kill for Inox. And that's a good thing.
Gate continuing to push up this bottom wave, but there is no tier 2 turret for him to take. They already got it.
Yeah, the game is, you know, 1 kill to 1 kill. It was assisted, which kind of helps Final 5. But it's a Dragon that still went to NME Esports, and they now have the 5% movement speed buff. They now have the ability to rotate back and forth that little bit faster and try to stymie those plays of Final 5.
Very close game still. 2K up for Final 5. And Final 5 were very confident in their ability to play a best of 3 against NME. So this is the game that they're hoping to make a comeback in, or else they just lose the whole thing and go 0-4 total against NME throughout the season. NME, though, are going to counter in this mid lane. They're going to get this turret for themselves, but do they get gauged on?
Well, again, Flares has TP, but he's on the bottom side of the map. They know that. They don't choose to go in. They don't think they can burst people down in time before Lulu does her crazy things.
Her crazy things.
Well, shows up and presses R on someone.
She shows up. Her crazy things!
Ah,
what is she doing?
It's wild! Get it?
I got it. I got it. Man.
NACS.
See, people don't play against this new Kassadin. The cooldown on it is so low.
That guy's dead.
Yeah, he's going to get another one off, too.
He's trying. I mean, NX out of mana, but look at that. That's a W.
That's another
R.
one.
Bam.
New Kassadin is extremely strong, but they all went towards that bottom side.
All right, final 5. You got limited time. Flares is here. Veritas spell shields the Glitter Lance. That's going to be Baron. Okay, now can you get away? It's a 5v4, and Kassadin is angry, but he's not part of the fight yet. They have to fight back. These guys can't run away safely. Several's down. They go for
trying to turn it.
He wild growth, but goes down 1 for 0.
Veritas
Into the back
is still
line.
alive.
They kicked up Otter, but he got knocked up by, oh my god, Nautilus and stayed alive for it. And Inox is going to kite back. Body drop trades in, but here comes Inox. He's going to kill everybody. 4 members dead for only the pick on Flares.
Oh, they removed all of the Baron buffs except for Impalers, and now it's actually just a 1k gold lead for Final 5 after everything's all
It's going to be
said.
less. They're going to kill at least an inhibitor here. 45-second respawn timers on most members here. Enemy Esports can easily knock down a ton here. They're not even going to go for the minions first. They're looking to practically backdoor this.
He's going to walk straight up to it. Veritas
There we go.
got a little too far forward as Inox was coming in, but it was also just a disadvantage for them because of the fact that Inox was still up. He had to just get all the way across the map to do so, but it was a huge, huge boon for the team that he was still alive and still had that blue buff ticking and got all his mana back by the time he got there.
Man, you turned British there.
By
But then he got here.
He got there. I was going to say here and there, and then I was like,
Came here.
Yeah.
You're like quick shot.
He's not British.
Kind of. Lived there for a while. Either way, look at this though. That Nautilus ult saved Otter. Impaler had a beautiful kick back, but they put both the ults at the same time. It interrupted the knockback.
Veritas right here too. He just goes too far forward.
He wants Otter. He's like, we're gonna get run down. I think that's the right choice by Veritas. If the Nautilus ult had not been aimed at Otter, he would have been in the middle of the enemy team. He would have died. Inox likely still would have carried the fight home, but it would have been one more pick and a better situation for Final 5.
Otter would have been much closer to Veritas' damage output.
That guy would have been, he would have been dead. He had to flash away, get cleansed off the stun. Like,
Yeah.
just very unfortunate. It really just, that minor difficulty right there for Final 5. And at the end of the day, Enemy Esports, because they did knock down the inhibitor turret, and actually in 5.5, I think, and 5.6, inhibitor turrets are worth much less gold.
Yes.
Cracking that is actually worth the map control, but not a lot of money, and I forgot about that. So Enemy Esports are still nursing a gold deficit. It's weird because it feels like they're ahead, but they're not. There's still a Baron buff or 2 left on Final 5, although it might have timed off from Impaler now.
Yeah, they're ahead in damage output. They get the durability from flares being even, but the Luden's Echo just does a lot of work. It's an extremely cost-effective item.
Yeah. What's Brooks buying? That's not the parts of Frozen Mallet. Longsword Giant's Belt.
Hex Drinker? Oh.
Brutalizer. He's going Yomu's, I guess, or Cleaver, or just keeping it just for the.
They don't have enough armor to warrant a Cleaver.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna start coming in now that the Zonias are gonna be next, but yeah, you're right. They don't need a Cleaver.
The flat penetration would be better at this point. The 20 for himself. And the movement speed increase.
I think he can't finish Yomu's. I think he actually needs to just get the next tank stats in. But I actually would like to see double lock it. I want to see Rux buy that item.
I feel like Rux is at the point where he's realizing you don't need more durability against this team. You need more damage to kill them.
You're right. You're right. You need that burst.
Because they're just going to outlast you.
That's true. You can't out-DPS a Kassadin, not with Twisted Fate. And you can't out-DPS a Kog'Maw with Sivir either. So yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. The burst damage needs to come in. Only now is Gate buying MR. I think that's actually out of order at this point. At this point, just like get a Lich Bane. Try to one-shot somebody. I think it's already too late for defensive stats. You're not going to look for a friend. Sheep loses the shield. Yeah, they Righteous Glory and go nowhere.
Yeah, Righteous Glory to run away.
Literally did nothing.
It does not work like that. I see so many people use it. And it does not work like that. You have to be running at enemies for it to work. You get the slow, like a Randuin's. You get to hold on to it, but then you just double tap it.
Okay, they're buying time for Rux to push top lane. They're gonna look for a pick here on a Trashy. Oh, gold card timed out though. Gating gets knocked in. He pops Zony, but after the burst already hits him. This is gonna be tricky. He's gonna go down. 1 kill picked up. Rux pushing the top lane. The disengage from Impaler, but Inox is on the chase. How well can he kill Veritas? Really well, actually. Rux stays in the top lane, but enemy esports have the chase power. Inox, though, out of mana, has to W something. Flashes for it to land the mana restore, and that's going to be a kill onto Sheep. 3 kills picked up for enemy esports. Flares TPs to defend. They save the inhibitor turret, and here comes the chance at a game-winning push. Minions coming down the mid lane. It is a 5 versus 2. Rux TPs, but Whimsy goes on cooldown.
On cooldown, looks like they might save their base a little bit. Rux doesn't have any mana though. He has to get all the way back to his fountain.
And he has to dodge the Inox W. Here comes a push on in. Nexus turret number 1. Enemy esports looking for the 2-0.
Oh,
they go in, they take down Rux. 1 turret left for enemy esports to reach the finals here. And looks like Impaler cannot defend the base. Another grueling fight, 44.5 minutes, but it's gonna be the 2-0. Enemy esports into the finals.
And that means they are guaranteed a spot in the promotion tournament to play an LCS team at the least. Otherwise, they auto-promote if they get that first place.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. So TDK versus Enemy Esports in the finals. And to me, it's a bit hard to rank those two teams because they had very interesting games, very close games overall in the series. To talk about Enemy Esports a bit more, though, Inox continues to be the real deal.
Yep.
14 KDA that game, 915 on Kassadin. That gave me nightmares, and I wasn't even in that game.
Yeah, 34,000 damage. Next highest was 23,000. Which was Veritas on the enemy team. So still consistently out-damaging people, consistently performing on whatever mid laner he picks up, and showing off the 5.6 Kassadin. Kassadin has, like, the thing with 5.6 is your stacks fall off faster.
Yeah.
5.5, Kassadin was almost operating the same way that he was there.
I don't think there was a situation where it would have been different, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's one of those sleeper things that people kind of overlooked. And that's the thing, too, is it caught a lot of people off guard in this game. Final 5 did not seem to know how to handle 5.6, 5.5 post-Kassadin, where he has the lower cooldown on the Rift Walk and the 500 range on it.
In the Luden's Echo adaptation, like you said that you thought Kassadin would be a little bit better earlier on than we normally see Kassadin's because of all the changes. Luden's Echo especially helps spike that, helps make that the case for him, where it was triple Doran's Ring Ludens for Lulu,
it becomes more
Roa Ludens for Kassadin, and then bam, these double AP champions are doing dumb amounts of damage you have to deal with. And you're right, it seemed like Gate wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, it's like Catalyst, Roa, and then boom, Luden's Echo. Like, you just spike up so hard with that item in the mid game, and they push that immediately.
And it happened to line up with about 6 stacks on Roa, as Gun and Gold comes in, so that's mostly scaled up as well. Either way, of course, a great game by Enemy Esports. Now joining us to talk about that victory is Enemy's jungler Trashy. Trashy, man, congrats on the win. You played absolutely great overall. Tell me about that series. It 2-0, but it was, I think, a lot closer than we were expecting.
Kind of. I don't know. We basically just picked scaling comps because we knew that they didn't really transition to the patch, and as well as we did. So we just played it slow. We knew that, like, no matter what, we could do small mistakes in the early game and still come out ahead. So it was not really, like, I don't think any of us was like worried in the game at all, because we had pretty good control, I think.
All right, and I've talked to you a couple times about junglers and tank junglers, and you said you didn't like them at all. Are you now on the bandwagon with Gragas?
I just think, I would prefer to play stuff like Lee Sin or stuff like that, but as the meta is right now, you don't really gain much from playing early game champions because mostly people just play more safe, and later on in the game, you could just see how much impact I had compared to the Lee Sin because he didn't really do anything later on, and that is just how the meta is, and you have to adapt to the meta, and that's just how it is.
I actually want to press you on that a little bit because we see really successful teams. I'm going to bring up Team Impulse with Rush, who's still playing fighter junglers and playing for early game pressure. Watching NALCS and watching these pro teams who still seem to prioritize fighters, do you think they're just doing it wrong, or as teams get better, they can close out on early game leads?
It is, but like, of course, you can play early game comp and then just steamroll. I think last week we played on the same patch and we played Rek'Sai, for example. So there's no real. You can still pull it off, but it is a lot harder and it's a lot more risky because if you do small mistakes in the early mid game, you just fall behind, and then there's no real comeback because they will just outscale. So we just played it out safe, and we knew that we were the better team. So why not just go the safe way?
And I want to ask you about your move over from Europe. What has changed since you've been here in North America? What's the biggest thing that you've basically learned on NME?
So I was actually kind of depressed back in Europe because I had a lot of things going not my way, and then I got this offer, and I was like, this is a new start for me, and hopefully, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm just going to give it my all. And yeah, I mean, I just learned a lot from my time in Europe, especially on my time on H2K. We had a lot of success, but we also had some bad games. And I mean, everyone from that lineup has shown, like, in the LCS now that they're good players, and I hope I can show that as well sometime. But back then, I think everyone just learned a lot about team communication and how a team works. So I'm just happy that I get the chance to hopefully get LCS soon.
Well, you certainly look very happy, and man, congratulations on the 2-0 win. Good luck in the finals as well. It's going to be a really fun match to watch. So, hey, just good luck.
Thank you, thank you. And shout out to our great coach who's having birthday today, Brad, the lazy dude. Shout out to him for sure. He's helping us a lot.
Happy birthday. All right, well, guys, after today's matchup, here's how the bracket shapes up. NME Esports, of course, they've advanced to the finals to face TDK live on the LCS stage in Los Angeles on April 8th. With the loss, though, Final 5 will compete for 3rd place on April 7th against Team Fusion.
And first place will replace Team Coast in the NALCS this summer, while 2nd and 3rd will battle to replace Team Dignitas and Winter Fox in the Summer Promotion Tournament on April 25th and 26th.
So if you can't wait until next week for more playoffs, well, you don't have to. On Saturday, the European and NALCS qualifiers kick off with H2K Gaming and the Copenhagen Wolves in a best-of-5 series at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That will be followed immediately by our live coverage of Counterlogic Gaming against Team Liquid. It's going to be a fun set of games, obviously.
Basically, wait for those quarters.
Yeah, the way it's going to work, by the way, to kind of explain the schedule, NA won't start until EU ends, and if EU ends super early, we're just going to kind of fill some time, and the games will probably still start at noon, but we'll be talking about the teams for plenty of time. There's a lot to talk about with those matches overall.
And if it ends up going past noon, we'll start immediately after the EU LCS is done broadcasting.
Exactly. Either way, though, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun this weekend, so tune in. And now with that, we've reached the end of our time together tonight. So for myself, Zyrene, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time, 6 p.m. Tuesday. Don't miss it.
Yeah. See you in a while, Crocodile.
Later, alligator. It's fun. Hook, wow, is going to hit Otter, and there's the engage. More knockups come through. There's the Q. Otter's got nowhere to go. Stays alive with the ulti, and Ruck's forced to get out, but he's one hit from dead. Barrel comes in, double kill for Inox. Oh my god, Nautilus stayed alive for it, and Inox is going to kite back. Body drop trades in, but here comes Inox. He's going to kill everybody. Oh, gold card timed out, though. Getting gets knocked in. He pops Sony, but after the burst already hits him. This is going to be tricky. He's going to go down. One kill picked up.
Yo, man, look at me, man. I got all the jewels. Look at my shoes, man. I'm sharp. Man, I look good, right, I look good, right, I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, right, I look good, right, come on. I'm in love with a girl that I call old school. Sipping on my brandy, I'm feeling brand new. Got the feather in my hat because I'm just that cool. You peeping at my alligators bent kinda slow. They peeping at me pimping cause I got all the game. And even if the day change, it's all the same. You rolling up the block, but you in the wrong lane. You hating on a brother, man, you must be insane. I look good. I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good. I look good. Come on. I look good, I look good, I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, I look good, come on. Joe said that I'm the best in the West. I got the girls singing, damn, look at how he dressed. No need to guess, just bless my finesse. I keep him in a mess, all up in this caress. Jeans, fitted, shirt, knitted. Man, she need to quit it, she already did it. She gotta be Latina cause she look mixed with it. She all up on me, so I guess she gonna get it. I look good, I look good, I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, I look good, come on. I look good, I look good, I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, I look good, come on. Right, come on. Right, come on. Right, come on. I look good, right.